everybody. Hi, everyone. We're here again. We're here for the Gamesline podcast. I'm John. I'm in charge of the website, and I love to talk about video games. Does anyone else love to talk about video games? I think that nobody else does, just like us, because we're smart and we love games more than everybody else.
That's probably true.
It's true. It is true. I know it's true because I said it. I know it's true, that's why I said it. So hi, we're here. We're live on Twitch. Once again, if you want to watch us on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/GameslineTV every week, Sunday at 5 p.m. CST. I'll be here, and I'll be joined by such illustrious guests as Lily, who is here in some sort of like space. Yeah, where are you at right now, Lily? What's your location this time?
Well, I don't know exactly because I was in the cave last week, and then I went into like a level load trigger, and then I woke up in like a pod, and there was like a lady yelling at me, but I ignored that. But there's some kind of like robot problem in this area, but we can talk about that later.
All right, we'll make sure to cover that in a little bit, because I do think it's important to discuss robot problems and make sure that nothing too terrible is going on. Nicholas, you're here.
Yes, I am.
You're a repeat offender now. What's going on?
What's going on? Well,
yeah, just what's going on.
As you can see, I have been stuck in this exact pose in this exact location for the past few months. I need to break out.
That's true.
I need to find myself. I need to save myself. I didn't have any women yelling at me, so I didn't have any inciting incident. I'm stuck here. I need to be saved.
All right, we'll figure that out too. Crystal, you are also here. Are you in like where do secretary birds live? Do they live in like forests or like grasslands, or
They live in the African savanna.
Okay, so you're in the African savanna right now, or somewhere similar to that, I'm guessing.
Although my lack of motion might lead you to believe that my situation is similar to Nicholas's, it's actually I arrived by a different road. I've actually compressed all of time into one moment, and that is the moment of a secretary bird being photographed.
Okay, so this entire time, you have been gaming and consuming other such forms of media and podcasting and every other bit of life that you have lived in that one moment. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
It's just like Haruhi.
Yes, just like Haruhi. It's been quite the week, everybody. I'm just gonna say it right here, right now. It's been a fucking mess of a week. And I feel kind of bad about not getting the VOD and stuff up sooner, you know? Like, I uploaded everything, like, right before we started going live. Which wasn't good, I don't think. I probably shouldn't, I don't know. I'm a little stressed out because my house did not have AC for like a week, and it's 100 degrees outside. So I couldn't really turn on my computer to do things like editing audio and processing video, because if I did that, that would make it hotter, and I did not want to contribute to that. So I apologize for things being so late in some regards, but we're here now, and everything is available now, and that is, I suppose, what matters if you continue to enjoy our content. I still don't like. I don't like calling it content. I know that's not like a new thing, but like that's like the collective, like videos and audio and all that. Y'all know what I mean. But in the interim, in this past week, there have been about 3 separate massive implosions of, pretty well-founded companies and or the company's day-to-day operations that have caused massive panic in different groups, some a bit less serious than others. And there's also just gaming continuing to occur in other ways. So there's a lot to go over, I would say. I kind of want to just hop on the big thing first, and I don't know if that's a good idea, but I want to talk about this because it's gonna probably take a while to talk about, and I would like to just get to the nitty gritty of everything. We talked last week about Steam and the payment processors pushing around and asking for games of certain types to be removed. And it was pretty specifically, very specific sexual content that is on the taboo side that was removed. But the payment processors are continuing to make requests of different game platforms, in that itch.io was now under scrutiny, and they de-indexed pretty much all of their NSFW games, which they did not remove They did not remove all of the games from their service. I from what I've seen, some games were removed. It's a little up in the air exactly how on purpose some of that was, because there were definitely some games that got removed that, they are in that NSFW bubble, but there were some games where it's just like, yeah, this is like a big game that got awards at the indie game conferences and stuff, and it involved some conversations of more of topics such as that, but they were just outright removed when a lot of other ones were just taken off of the search. And so this caused a massive panic, because this is a lot of people's livelihoods, and this is a lot of people's artistic expression. And the one thing that I will say is I understand the frustration and I understand the fear and all that. Personally, it's a little frustrating to see people just jumping at being pissed at itch to the extent that they are. If you look at how Steam handled things, where they just removed everything and they didn't say anything, they didn't really give any kind of communication whatsoever. That's Steam, and that's okay, yeah, that's kind of what you expect from them. Itch maybe could have been more communicative, but there are also limits to how communicative they could have been, just legally. And there's also a lot of instances where you look at how they're talking about stuff, and they laid out the exact things that they couldn't host anymore, and they are very specifically saying, this is what we can't host because of the payment processors. And there's some aspects of it where they're just we can't say everything that we want to say, but this is things we can't host because of the payment processors, that kind of thing. And I just feel like a lot of people are not picking up on that, and that's really frustrating, that it seems like they're a much smaller part of the industry compared to something like Steam that just rolled over and didn't leave any argument whatsoever. Right now there is a major push by not just but by pretty much every aspect of gaming, honestly. I've been the first major push was mostly from LGBTQ creators. A lot of this targeting will blindly target LGBTQ media, because to a lot of these, especially the conservative right-wing elements that are pushing for the censorship, just having anything gay in it is automatically, overly sexual and should be removed to them. So, people are ready to fight back against it. But I've been seeing, I made a joke about it, but it's still kind of true in that, 4chan is doing the exact same thing that people on Blue Sky and Tumblr and stuff are doing, where they are calling up Visa and MasterCard and Stripe and stuff and complaining about it and trying to get as far up to managers and supervisors as they can, so that way it can't just be filtered, it can't just be ignored. So I was just making a joke, like, damn, 4chan and Tumblr, where they're getting back together, But, I don't know. Does anyone else have anything that they want to add about this specifically?
I mean, I think I literally said last week, it's very easy to succumb to the sort of ennui of things. And like I said, as soon as you know that things like this are happening, there suddenly can be an actionable attempt to push back on it. Because, again, the thing that was noted in the news story was that the people responsible for this kind of thing aren't some insidious majority in any way. They are a bunch of people who put in a large amount of calls, yes, but they don't really represent a majority opinion in the context of what media should be available for purchase. And when you know specifically what parties are responsible, then you can have measured action like this. And again, we can hope that it is as successful as it should be. But without necessarily completely recapping the conversation that we had last week, I mostly just want to say that for the most part it is still an emerging story, but I think hopefully people will do the right thing and direct their ire at the people actually responsible.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those things where I absolutely understand why people are upset, because it did seem like a safe haven. But, that's what people are going to go after. They're going to go after these safe havens, and they're going to try to tear it down. And itch does not have the power and funds to push back very publicly. I'm sure that they have lawyers telling them, hey, this is what you can say, this is what you can't say, and this is how we're going to fight back against this, and the public pushing back so hard against it is 100% going to help out their case, because if they're just like, hey, all of this content is legal, fuck you, then something's got to give eventually, Does Crystal, do you have anything that you want to add?
I don't necessarily have a ton of sympathy to spare for itch, but I think you are correct that, people have claimed that you can be angry at multiple things, to which I must respond, no, you can't. You can be productively angry towards one thing at a time, and that should be towards making calls to the payment processors.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think that there's probably millions of ways that every aspect of this could have been handled somewhat better in some way, but also, yeah, if your main complaint is against itch, I'm just I don't know, I don't mean to single anybody out, so I'm not going to name names, but I felt kind of crazy seeing a post where someone wrote up this huge diatribe about how mad they were at itch, and then immediately said, hey, go buy my games on Steam. And I was just like, oh, okay. like I guess, like I get that you need to make money, you need to do this, but like being like, we can never work with Itch again, they've completely ruined our trust, but I'm still selling everything on Steam. Like, oh, okay, like that just seems a little off to me.
To defend this unnamed person on the internet, it seems like their game's still up on Steam.
Sure. I mean, like, I get that again, but it's just like, I don't know. I just think that there's got to be more nuance. I think, like, we just gotta, it's a frustrating situation, and I don't know. I wish that none of this happened, of course. But it's just like, I don't know. We got to pick our battles, I think. We got to figure something out. And but the good news is I think the battles are being fought in the right way, for sure. Nicholas, do you have anything that you want to add?
Not really. I mean, it's nice to see people are making calls and everything at this point. I feel like the disdain against Itch has died down a little bit amongst the most people I'm seeing. Obviously, the annoyance is still there, but it seems like most of it is focused on actually making calls and gumming up the system, which is nice. I don't know. You covered pretty much everything I could think of trying to say, of just... It's kind of frustrating to have to deal with this, but it seems like people, after a couple days, realized, alright, this is the direction we need to be channeling our focus and anger into, even though there are still some cases where, like, it's not really worthwhile going, well, it could have handled this better or this or that, because, well, they didn't, and the reality we live in is the one where they didn't, and that doesn't change what needs to be done.
Sure, it's like I will be a lot more open to hearing conversations like this and figuring things out with Itch as a platform once the dust settles on this stuff. Like like Crystal said, I think we can be structurally angry at the main root cause of what's going on, and then once we figure out what we're able to do with that and we can move forward, then we can, work on the platforms that we are able to work with and move forward and see what we're able to do. I think that's a fair place to be in, I would say. But yeah, I hope this is wrapped up soon. I mean, from what I've seen, a lot of the payment processes are pissed as hell about it. Like, they're answering phones and being like, yeah, just send emails so we can filter it out, and people are not listening, which is good. So keep fighting the good fight, call them up, try to get it as high up as you can, and hopefully this ends well. That would be nice, because yeah, I mean, those shitheads in Australia, there were like 1,000 of them, and I'm pretty sure there's more than 1,000 people calling in and complaining about what's going on. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful, maybe baselessly, but I'm hoping that things turn out well.
If you are going to make some calls, the approach that you should take is to be nice and polite, but to be confused and take up a lot of their time.
Like, don't come in acting like you already know the full situation. Be like, hey, I'm trying to buy something and it's not showing up. That kind of stuff. Like, be a customer. Be somebody who's not just there to yell. Be somebody who would be calling them up on any other day. Because then they have to fully interact with you.
Be someone who doesn't know how anything works, but be so nice about it that no one can blame you.
Exactly, yes. Let's see here. Okay. I thought that was something we were going to have to talk about for like an hour. But that's fine. I'm not going to be pissed off about that. Let's see here. Man, it's been a crazy week. Let's talk about what we've been playing. How about that? Crystal, since you weren't on last week, we can check up with you. First, what games have you been playing?
I've played 1, 2, 3 shooters.
3 whole shooters. Which ones?
The first shooter I played is Crysis 2, the 2011 Crytek game.
Okay.
Brief history of Crysis. Crytek made a game in 2004 called Far Cry, which was renowned for its open-ended levels. Then Ubisoft took over the Far Cry license and put out a new one in 2008. But before that game, there was Crysis, the spiritual sequel to Far Cry, which was also about open-ended levels. Then in 2011, they released Crysis 2, which is not about open-ended levels. It is about linear, set-piece, cinematic, lots of stuff blowing up around you type levels, as was the style at the time. And I think that this doesn't actually hurt the game at all, because there's still enough height and width in the levels that you can do the same kind of maneuvering that you would do in Crysis or Far Cry 1. You know, you can sneak around, you can go find a new gun, you can get a sniping position, you can flank enemies while they're fighting your allies, you can do all that stuff. How do you feel about Far Cry and Crysis?
John has not really played any of them. I don't care much about them. Lily, do you have an opinion on Far Cry or Crysis as the big first-person shooter person around here?
So, I will admit, my experience with Crysis 2 in particular is not the ideal one. My first experience playing Crysis 2 was, I think, while I was in college, and I was playing it on, like, a gaming laptop with a GTX 660 in it that could barely run most indie games well. But if I were to rely on my recognizance here, I kind of have always found that, like, while Crysis is an incredibly, like, technically competent game, in the context where, like, it has ideas, it is trying to push the medium of games forward with, like, the graphics engines and stuff like that, it kind of fails in the context of being a game that is living up to the breadth of those ideas, where contextually you are kind of going to do the dominant strategy of just shoot people in the head with a rifle until they fall over in a havoc ragdoll pile. And, like, the level design, while being open, I personally never felt was, like, that interesting in the context. Like, because, like Crystal said, there is, like, the verticality and there are the elements of strategic level design and things like that, but it's also a game where you can just turn invisible and then punch people, like, in the back and they'll just fall over. And that's kind of that's just going to turn into the strategy that I always ended up employing.
If you want to play this as a stealth game, you can also sneak past almost every encounter.
That is true.
I do think the most impressive thing about it is it's set in New York City, and the buildings feel very, very tall in a way that I don't think I've ever felt in an open world game, because in those you have to be able to see it from every perspective. You have to be able to, like, fly your helicopters around between them and stuff. But because you're always on the ground or on shorter buildings, they can really just make them gigantic.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with that sentiment in like again, the biggest element that people talk about even today with Crysis is its depiction of 3D spaces using graphics engines. Like, it was kind of like that aspirational period where people thought, like, oh yeah, this was going to push everything forward. It's just, my opinion mostly comes from the things that I remember based on, it wasn't 15 years ago now, was it? Oh no.
14 years ago.
Oh dear. Yeah, like, it's definitely not on, like, the annual replay list, Chrysos.
No, I don't think I'll ever replay Crisis 2, but it was okay for this one play. You could do worse if you're looking for a 2011 style shooter campaign.
I mean, you can keep talking about whatever, it's fine, or we can just shift over to someone else. Because I mean, you said you had three shooters. I don't know if you just want to go through your shooters.
Sure, I can go through my shooters. Okay, second
Go through your
shooter.
shooters.
Released only 3 years before Crisis 2, and yet it feels 10 years older. It's Frontlines, Fuel of War.
Okay.
This was made by Chaos Studios, who you might better remember as the developers of Homefronts, a game that nobody really liked, and yet everyone remembers. So, Chaos Studios started as the people who made a Battlefield 1942 mod called Desert Combat. And Frontline's Fuel of War still kind of feels like a Battlefield 1942 mod. It's... The missions are basically bot matches where you capture the points and you're on maps that I think are probably also multiplayer maps. I didn't really check out the multiplayer, but they feel like they could be.
It was that era.
Yeah, it had a very older style gamepad control scheme. It's not a left trigger, right trigger. It's more like a PS2 style shooter. But I think the really impressive thing of its old-fashionedness is the way that the menus look. Because menus in games of the HD era, and especially of the 4K era, it's too small. It's hard to read all the text. But in Frontlines, it feels like it's still designed for standard definition screens. All the text is very big. There's big buttons that you can't miss. There's lots of promotional images all over it, like it's a PC game installer. It's very charming to me. Anyone else played this one?
My main experience with the studio is like my secondhand knowledge of Homefront and its handling of like things as terrible as white phosphorus strikes in the most embarrassingly farcical cutscene ever. So I can't imagine that this one would be much higher on my radar, but yeah, I have literally no idea on this one.
The third shooter I played is Super Hot Mind Control Delete. So Super Hot originally, 2013 browser demo. I played it at the time and I was like, wow, this is pretty awesome. Can't wait till they make the full game. Then they released the full game in 2016. And it was pretty good, but even at the time, I felt like I had pretty much gotten most of what I needed from the demo. This just feels like a bunch of additional levels. But that game was only like 3 hours long, so it wasn't a huge slog or anything. Then they released Super Hot VR, which is the real shit. I think adding a bit of kinesthetic experience really adds to the simplicity of Super Hot, because just having to like crouch to dodge a bullets makes it feel a little more active than moving the control stick.
Yeah.
And then they released Super Hot Mind Control Delete in 2020, which is a roguelike Super Hot. You play randomly generated levels, and every few levels you can buy a new upgrade. And if you die too much, then all your upgrades are lost, and you have to start over. Super Hot was already struggling a bit to be a 3-hour authored game, and it definitely does not have enough variety to be a roguelike.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've only played the original Super Hot and then Mind Control Delete, and I did really like the original. But Mind Control Delete was just it's so thin, and I feel like a lot of it just repeats. And I was just like, I'm done with this. Like, I've played enough Super Hot for my life. I'm good. I don't know, very weird thing.
And it kind of makes the story that they go for a little embarrassing, because it's all about how, oh, you wanted more super hot, huh? We'll eat up your slop piggies. Like, well, I don't think I do. I don't think I do want this. I'm not actually being hypnotized by your evil game.
Yeah. Like, no, I don't need more. Yeah, you made it, and I'm okay though. But sure, whatever. It's very odd.
Anyone else have opinions about Super Hot?
I think the strongest opinion that I have, generally speaking, about Super Hot is that it acts as an incredibly interesting power up in more interesting games, and that's about it.
Oh, what's a game that uses the Super Hot as a power up?
So as an example, Dusk uses it, where it basically, like, Dusk as being like an homage to the Quake games. You can get, I think it's like an injector in that game, where it basically just adds the Super Hot gimmick to a more technically competent first-person shooter.
Okay.
All right.
And I think also, I may be misremembering here, Enter the Gungeon might use it also.
All right.
It's like Max Payne does. No, not really. I'm just kidding. All right. Well, thank you for the shooter roundup. So it's interesting to hear about that. Lily, do you want to talk about any shooters? What have you been shooting lately?
The primary shooter that I have been playing is, in fact, technically not its own standalone game. So I'm going to start with my middle point here. But I started playing a standalone Doom 2 conversion mod called Ashes 2063. It is kind of interesting in the context that it's been worked on for so long. Like, you can find it still on places like ModDB. And I think it's like an interesting like coalescence of ideas between like how we've seen like what the expectations of games are in the context of how they relate to games aging back as far as Doom. Mm-hmm. So Ashes 2063 is kind of trying to style itself as, well, simultaneously Doom, but also as like the Fallout Generation-y, like, conversation branching systems and survival horror kinds of stuff. It also takes like a lot of inspiration from those darn build games again, where it's got like it's got like a motorcycle you have to take care of. You have like a lantern. A lot of shortcuts and stuff are managed by blowing holes in walls, which was never really the original Doom engine's forte. That was more of like a build thing. But it is like, it's really charming because, again, it's obviously like a work done by like in indie developers here. And it is funny because I think like everyone kind of has like let's say you're playing like Fallout New Vegas and you kind of think to yourself like, God, I wish this game actually had competent gunplay. And someone else clearly had that idea because this game basically plays like a Fallout game, like crowbarred into Doom. But it also has like a lot of the Mad Maxian kind of elements. Like, it's got the scrap and gas as a currency kind of thing. It has weapon mods. It's got raiders who all talk in the voices like they're evil all the time. And like the thing is, it's not like excellent all the way through. There are definitely some certainly worse parts than others, especially as the episodes develop, and they clearly started to want it to be more of a survival game where they wanted you to manage your resources. But the thing that was like the most intriguing to me is a thing that I've been thinking about a lot lately, especially with other GZ Doom powered games, is this kind of point where there is enough divergent evolution that happens between a video game like Doom. How far do you actually need to stretch things for it to not feel like Doom anymore? Because a lot of GZ Doom powered games, at least the ones that I've played in my experience, with notable exceptions, end up just feeling like this, basically, where it is a conversion, but at the end of the day, it's mostly just still Doom when you dig down. And that's not bad, Doom is fun, and this game is
great.
ultimately free, so how much can I actively complain about it? But it is kind of fascinating because the ultimate crystallization of Doom, both as it stands as an icon of the industry, as well as how it has affected game design moving forward, is this kind of interesting thing where the two game pillars as they exist, the flavors of Doom, are these kinds of seek and destroy style game design that I think is really interesting because it ultimately boils down to a kind of transcendently simple experience that just adding items and dialogue trees can't fundamentally change in a meaningful way. And it's not something as simple as, well, these graphics still look like Doom, so I know it's Doom. It's mostly because you are still categorically trying to push me toward a style of game that is those two pillars, seek and destroy, at the end of the day, it still kind of feels like we are just playing Doom.
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting.
What do you think makes it difficult to add a Fallout type story to the Doom loop?
I think that because of the kind of design that is inherent to games like Doom, where they are these kind of level-based things, where time kind of progresses linearly with your progress through levels rather than an emergent tracked variable of game state via things like in-game time tracking. It kind of makes it feel like that similar uncanniness, because the best Fallout games are the ones where your passivity is as much of an action as your action. So in something like Fallout New Vegas or Fallout 1 and 2, playing those kinds of games, just sitting there and just hitting wait over and over again, less so in New Vegas, but to an extent, stuff still happens. Inaction is a thing that you can also engage with, and I think that is kind of instrumental to a Fallout story, because Fallout is kind of defined by its faction play, kind of like the TTRPGs that inspired it. And when you have something like Doom obviously can do open worlds, there are games that do that kind of explorative back and forth design. It doesn't seem like there is a ton of kind of thoughtfulness that comes from those factional interplays where you are just a component of the world, rather than you being the Gordon Freeman-esque messiah who controls all things by their movements alone. And I think that's something that those Doom Engine games have a hard time backing away from.
So there's not a lot of you're just in town and talking to people stuff.
Yeah, to give an example of something that happens in episode 1 of Ashes, you are talked to by some barkeep who basically says, we're going to kick these bandits out of town. And you go along with this as your prerogative, and you kill all the bandits, and then you get out of town, and you never go back there again. You are not afforded the agency to see the results of your actions, even when that action is a decision you technically had a part in making, even though it's heavily forced on you. And then in a later episode, they're just like, yeah, that town exploded. We don't know what happened.
Don't worry about it, though. It's not that big of a deal.
Well, again, like, a lot of these games are kind of about that forward momentum that kind of doesn't allow you to reckon with the agency of your actions, and that is kind of a problem, especially here.
Nicholas, have you been shooting anything?
No, I do. Well, I guess technically because I've been playing some TF2 after the summer update dropped the new maps.
How's that going?
The new maps are generally not that great. I really like the one that's like an underwater aquarium, and the idea is that, like, basically the entire map is underwater, and everyone gets a massive speed boost, so it's like you're just trying to shoot each other in space, basically. It feels really nice, and it's different, and all the other maps, they feel, like, too mazy for their own good. It's like... With TF2, you can kind of see the evolution of map design over time. Like, the earliest Valve-made maps are like, we don't know how this game is going to be played, so we're just going to make everything hallways that get spammed like crazy. And then as people figure out the game, it's like, okay, these maps are more open now. They have more flanks. It's easier for people to use their movement abilities. And then it goes on to be like, okay, we're building these maps for people who we know are still sticking with this game after, like, nearly 2 decades of it being out. And they're gonna be the kind of people who are going to learn maps more in depth. So here's, like, a bunch of fucking mazes everywhere that are, like... I'm trying to think of what the name of one map is. But it's like... How do I describe it? It's this really big open jungle control points map, and it's like got a bunch of space for people to do like rocket jumping and flare jumping and sticky jump, like a bunch of different cool mobility stuff. But it's also got choke points out the ass and flank routes out the ass everywhere. So it's like, where the hell do I go? I'm trying to get from the start to the end, and I don't know where my team is or where anyone I'm trying to play with. And, like, I get it's kind of a dumb complaint, since I could just play the map a couple times and learn it. I could play characters suited to exploring those routes. But I think it is kind of funny how basically nothing from the new maps is immediately intuitive. The most intuitive one is a map that is genuinely, like, the size of a single room, and it just has a bunch of walls everywhere. Because it's so small, you can't get lost in it. That map is at least funny. But it's like, you can play Demo Man and shoot a projectile from one side to the other. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't have a whole lot in depth to say on the new stuff itself. Except, I like one of the new maps. I'm not super sold on any of the others. I do not play a lot of shooters. My entire shooter lineup is TF2, Ultra Kill, and when I'm feeling funny, I'll play the Plants vs. Zombies one, because I think that, like, the idea of a Plants vs. Zombie shooter is funny.
It is funny. It is very funny. But then what have you been playing?
What I have been playing is this cool set of games called No More Heroes, specifically the first and second one. I think my opinion on them is very different, and that's for one particular reason. No More Heroes 1 is pretty fun. I like the bosses, I like the levels, I think the little mini-games where you're doing jobs is pretty nice. I don't like driving around for 5 minutes to do each step of each process in the overworld, only for everything that makes money to be go kill all these enemies that you would fight in a level in 30 seconds. Because, like, if it was just go drive around the world and do the little mini-games, I'd love that, but those don't make you anywhere as much money as killing people, which you're already going to be doing all the time in the normal levels anyway. So it just kind of makes the game feel like it's trying to bloat to make a time limit or something. Or I guess time threshold, not limit. Is like, I don't need to be fighting identical enemies in this room. This game does not have enough enemy variety for that to be super interesting. I'm gonna be doing this in like 2 levels. I don't get it.
I agree with you. It's one of those things where if you start to, like, really dig into the nuance of the game, and you're going like, well, you see, it's supposed to be, a commentary on the violence of the world and how, killing people make you more money than working a regular job, and, just giving yourself to the violence and all that. But it's also really boring to drive around that city.
Yeah, it's like
The city's so empty because it's like, like everyone is, it's an empty wasteland of a place. But then it's also really boring to go around in there.
Nicholas, it sounds like you're saying it's less that the city is a problem, more that the missions are really repetitive and boring.
I think the city is kind of boring and excessively massive, but I do think the missions are also particularly boring. I think they're the greater culprit there, because I like the lawn mowing. I like picking up the coconuts. I think that stuff is fun. I don't like having to drive for 3 minutes to an empty garage to beat up 15 guys in 1 minute, and then I have to drive from the job site to the assassin site. That takes another 3 minutes so I can get another job. It feels like, I don't know, you're kind of being jumped around in a way that makes you waste as much time as possible. It's like, I get it. I get that you want to make this sort of sad, desolate open world with nothing in it to, commentate on how empty... I don't know, it feels kind of... It feels like it's just kind of trying to ascribe meaning to something that is already flawed, wherein that meaning that you ascribe to it makes sense to explain it. This kind of world is the one that is hollow and empty and disconnected enough to have stuff like assassinship be this big thing that can be commercially viable and commercially present within the society. But, I feel like the second game also does that, while also getting rid of that entire element. So it's I don't know, it feels like it's less that's what one was intending to do, and more so that's just a flaw that one has that you can then make that argument towards, considering you have the actual story of the game to back it up. It's weird. Because I don't want to discredit the game, because that could be intentional, but it just feels... it doesn't feel like that was the idea. It just feels like an excuse, I guess.
I mean, the way you're describing it, this flaw doesn't seem particularly unique to No More Heroes. This is basically the problem with almost every open world game, where it takes too long to get anywhere, and when you get there, you just do some more shitty combat.
It doesn't feel like mocking in the way that I feel like it'd have to be in order for that to be the idea. It just kind of feels... Because, there's still stuff you can do in it. There's still, little secret pickups you can take to NPCs to get, new moves. There's a bunch of different, shops strewn about in specific areas or, labs or whatever. It feels like there was an... It doesn't feel completely malicious in a way that I feel like that sort of theme would have to be in order to get through. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't dislike the combat or whatever. It's just I don't like that it feels like it's trying to force more of it into a game that already has enough of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's simple, but it's strong, and No More Heroes 1 is... It's it's a boss game, but also it just has a bunch of overworld driving around thrown into that, so that way it won't just be 2 hours long. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
It's imagine if Cuphead just had 30 running gun levels also added into the game. That's not why you're here. Those are fine, but that's not the point of the game. The point of the game is to be fighting cool, badass bosses.
I wouldn't even say that. It would be if Cuphead made you do really long travel you have to walk around the map in Cuphead to get from place to place, but it's if they made those sections where you're going around 5 times longer is the real issue.
Cuphead moves at 20% speed on the overworld.
Exactly. Oh man, we got the footage up on the Twitch.
I do think the game is very nice aesthetically. And also, in terms of cinematography, there are a couple cutscenes where I was genuinely surprised. I was like, man, games can have the camera and scenes move and work like this. I've been... look at how it pans out. It's so cool. So many scenes, like when you're fighting the first one, Death Metal, and like there's that one wide shot of them walking together, like alongside the pool, and it's all zoomed out, and they're walking behind the pillars that surround the arena. It's like, that shot's so cool. That's a great wide shot. And then he starts fucking talking during the boss fight. It's like, there is so much in one that is cool, and it's just kind of let down by the fact that it wants to be 3 times longer than it actually is. That is what I would ultimately say about 1. Which, it makes me really glad that 2 realized, what if we just weren't that long? And then it wasn't that long. And 2 is awesome, because here's the thing. I really, really, really love this little known game that caused me to ask for Action Game Rex called Kingdom Hearts 2. And I think the best part of that game is the post-game where you go through a long platformy cavern, and then you get to fight like just this entire lineup of some of the sickest super bosses ever. And I was like, man, that's really cool. I wish they made a game like that. And then they did. It's called No More Heroes 2, where you just fight a bunch of the sickest bosses ever. And it says all the things that, like, I could imagine you saying, oh, the No More Heroes 1 was supposed to represent this with its overworld by just making a story about that. Like, it feels like what No More Heroes 1 sort of wanted to be, but felt like it couldn't. And I really... like, No More Heroes 1, you can tell it's trying to be, like, sort of weird and extreme, for instance. Where it's got this guy that, like, is an actor for a superhero and he's psychotic. Or, it's got this old woman that's got a shopping cart with a giant laser cannon coming out of it. But, like, it also doesn't feel super extreme enough from the more typical fights that are, like, this guy in a baseball stadium with a gun, or this schoolgirl that's a samurai, which is, like, kind of weird on paper, but that's also pretty in line with the more extreme stuff. And then No More Heroes 2, like, you fight one relatively normal guy, and then you immediately go into, like, a cyborg cult leader, and then a guy who can make a gigantic mech out of 24 cheerleaders, and it just keeps building into shit like Astronaut from Space, or, like, Grim Reaper Girl that lives in a grocery store, or, like, has 5 laser swords in a robot suit. It's like, this game feels like the level of extreme that No More Heroes 1 is just kind of let down from being. It really, this game is really, really good because it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop doing the cool things that I went into these games expecting and wanting, and I like that a lot. Also, the bosses were a lot better than I thought they would be. I always heard horror stories about, like, at least half of them in this game. I think they are, at worst, pretty repetitive. Like, I think the worst one is probably the optional one against the schoolgirl, just because she only has one move. Though I can also understand it because it's a really easy optional one that if you accidentally activate, you're locked into. But I think on the whole, this game is very strong. I was really worried the final boss was going to be the worst thing ever, because I also heard that one was, like, thematically supposed to show you how unsatisfying revenge is, and, like, I get that, and that does come through in terms of the story, but it's like, he has one annoying move and that's it. The instant kill he has is really funny. I love that the game foreshadows that in, like, the second cutscene by making someone fall out that exact window in the background. I think that's very cute and a legitimate way to prepare the player for it if you can remember it. This game's very cool. I like No More Heroes 2 a lot. I am unsure if I want to play the other ones, like, after it. I've heard Strikes Back or again or whatever it is a completely different kind of game. And
It's a very different thing. I've written reviews for both Travis Strikes Again and No More Heroes 3, and Travis Strikes Again is an interesting game. It is a conversation between Suda51 and the player, just talking about what Suda's been up to, kinda, and his feelings on indie games and the industry. But then No More Heroes 3 is an unfinished, very strange, very frustrating mess that I'm very frustrated with. Like, I feel basically the same as you about 1 and 2. Like, I love No More Heroes 1 and 2, like, with my whole heart. But I agree with you about, like, the shortcomings of 1 and all that. I really liked Travis Strikes Again for its, like, oddly frank aspect, but the gameplay is also kind of because it's more of just like an indie, like over the top hack and slash kind of thing instead of this kind of gameplay. And then the problem is No More Heroes 3 has the best gameplay of the series. It feels really good to play, but like everything else about it is a downgrade in my opinion, and it's very frustrating. And like Suda has been like on the record of saying, "Oh yeah, no, like we had to cut like 65% of this game because we just didn't have the time to finish it because our company and the publisher got sold to two different like Chinese conglomerates, so we actively could not make this game any longer."
Woof.
So yeah, like like I'm pretty sure I'm not making that up. I think he said something along the lines of 65% of the game was cut. Like over half of the game was just not finished. Like what the fuck?
Yikes. The only thing I know about 3 is that, like, half of the bosses in that game get hit with the thing that Let's Shake does in the first game.
Yeah, and it's like, it's funny in the first game, but they just keep doing it. I don't want to get riled up about No More Heroes 3 again. I'm sorry. I like... Yeah, the No More Heroes 3 and Danganronpa V3 are two games that frustrate me a lot, and I can go on and on about it. And I think it's very... a lot of people disagree with me on those things. So, it's, you know, I feel a little bad talking about it sometimes, but also it's my opinion. Some breaking news here from IGN. But they interviewed Bob Odenkirk, and apparently he says that he will kill Mario.
What?
Like
here's
unprompted?
I don't... let me see what the context is, because I guess they talked to him at San Diego Comic-Con. I'm trying to see. I can't really skip around here. Oh, I guess they asked him about how he would kill different characters because he's talking about his Nobody movie, like, you know, the John Wick-esque film where he's, you know, murking people, and about how he would kill Mario. "I'll kill Mario. I'll tear that mustache off his face, jam it down his throat, take his swimming goggles, rip them to pieces, and stab him with those. It's gonna be bloody." Swimming goggles?
What the hell is he
Probably
talking
just
about?
We should
a character
ask.
in the movie or something.
We should ask more celebrities what video game characters they think they should kill completely unprompted.
I agree. I mean, I fully agree, because that is insane. And I don't know what the fuck is going on with that. His swimming goggles. He's going to stab him with his famous swimming goggles.
Okay, so the context of the interview is he took his family on vacation, and so the interviewer asked him, like, which characters would he kill on vacation, because that's the theme of Nobody 2.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense.
That's why Mario
It's
has
still
swimming
insane.
goggles.
It's still insane. That's still fucking insane. I'm not gonna... Yeah, Mario's swimming goggles being used as a sharp weapon, apparently. Like, I've never... Like, stabbing someone with... I don't know. You know, I shouldn't be overly analyzing this. Like, he's getting interviewed by IGN. Like, Bob Odenkirk doesn't give a fuck right now. He's just like, yeah, I'm at Comic-Con, whatever, you know? He's just saying shit, so... But it's very funny still. It's a very funny quote. Speaking of Mario and his related friends, I did finish Donkey Kong Bonanza. I didn't 100% it yet. I'm going to, because I very much enjoy playing that game. And I'm pretty close to being 100% done with it. But that last bit, I don't want to full-on spoil it, but that last, like, final boss, you know, the multiple phases and all that... That was one of my favorite final bosses in any Nintendo game ever. Like, just straight up. They did a great job doing some new stuff and bringing back some stuff. And I don't want to spoil anything, so I will not say any more. But I fucking loved it. I loved it. It's so fun. And it... You know, leans on a little nostalgia, but it doesn't lean all the way on it, which is nice. I'm always so... Listen. It's Nintendo. They're gonna be like, remember this old stuff? And they did some of that, but it wasn't the entire thing. And I respect that. They got past that and they went, okay, you know what? Now we're doing some real shit.
So you're saying this is the best final boss, both on the level of theme and mechanics?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who did this boss dethrone?
I did really like the final boss of Odyssey, especially the... Not just the boss fight, but just the ending of, like, you know, the big escape where you... spoilers for a 10-year-old game or whatever, where you use Cappy on Bowser and control his body to escape.
What?
Like, that's fun. Yeah. It's fun. I also really liked the ending to, not Subspace Emissary, but, World of Light in Smash Ultimate. Just because, you know, it's pretty basic stuff, but I love the part where, Master Hand fights back against the villains of Smash Ultimate, and you play as Master Hand officially for the first time, and you're just annihilating, like, all the, like, mooks while the Smash Bros. Characters are going to save the day. Like, that's great! I love that! Like, being like, oh man, like, finally, like, the big bad of Smash Bros. Is on your side now. Like, that's cute. I love that. It's a thematic thing, more than, like, because, you know, you're just pressing the inputs so Master Hand can do his all... You know, it's not that crazy cool. But I love it. I love it. They've been doing really cool, like, final bosses and, you know, thematic elements and stuff lately, so I think this is the new king of that one, I would say, for sure.
What's everyone else's favorite Nintendo bosses?
Oh, that's tough, honestly.
These guys don't make boss fights. They make games and then boss fights are put in afterwards because people will get mad if they didn't have them.
I will also say, if we're counting second-party stuff, I suppose, you know, Cynthia, I think, is still the best Pokemon champion, because they actually have her show up in the story, and she's built up, and then you fight her, and she's also extremely powerful and badass, and it's fun. It's good. Cynthia is also up there for sure.
I'm checking the list here, and I've made one thing that I think I've told this before, but every year, me and a couple friends make top 50 lists of things from games. One of those years we do bosses. So I have a list set up. I'm not seeing a single Nintendo final boss on here. I guess Pikmin 4's. It's like really low down, but just the only one on this list.
It's a good one. That was a good one. How do you feel about Pikmin 2's?
Pikmin 2's. I'm not super in on Pikmin bosses in general.
Okay.
But I do love Pikmin 2's final level, because Pikmin 2 is a mean game, and the final level is obviously going to be mean as well.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I guess technically, with second-party stuff, Banjo-Tooie's final boss was second-party at the time, so I guess we could count that.
Sure.
That's up there, but that's the one that I'd say is solidly up there.
I still need to play Tui. I've only played the original.
My mind goes to Goats in Majora's Mask, where you just roll straight into him and bonk him. It's always satisfying.
Sure. Lily, have you played enough Nintendo stuff to have an opinion on that?
I think if I had to, and not picking like a punt answer and just being like, the Gaping Dragon from Dark Souls remastered on the Switch. I don't know, it'd probably be like a Xenoblade thing. We know what my specific mental preoccupations are. Throw a dartboard at an RPG and I'll probably like something at it. You're throwing the dartboard, not the dart.
Yeah. I mean, the whole last bit in Xenoblade 3 was really good.
I hate that final boss. I think the final boss of 3 is the worst final boss in any game ever. Probably the worst boss in any game ever. It's so bad. I hate that one.
Someone hasn't played Cheetah Men 2. Worst boss in anything ever.
You know what would be really cool? If in a game built around being able to customize your characters and party that doesn't ever make you ever prioritize how they're split up, what if we made it that it's possible for the first time ever for your party to be split in half so you don't have any healers because you didn't ever consider building that way? So you just die and have to redo this entire fight with half an hour of unskippable cutscenes. What is the point of this? Why didn't you do this? The best way to play the final boss is to sit in a corner as a healer and let the entire party do it, because you are one of 7 characters and you can let the other 6 actually play the game, and then when someone dies you just walk over to them and Fortnite revive them. It sucks. I hate it. You are incentivized to play that way. God, I hate the final boss so much. It's so long and boring and slow and there's so much bullshit. It stinks.
I think it's good.
John. Don't do this to me.
I don't know. I didn't have a problem with it, and I thought the cutscenes were good, and I didn't have to watch them again. So,
why are they good?
Because it's all about fighting against ennui and,
Ennui
coming together. No, that's Luigi's Mansion 3. Which I remember that having a decent final boss. I think Luigi's Mansion 1 has a better final boss, though, because it's King Boo. I think it's also King Boo in Luigi's Mansion 3, but, you know what I mean.
Have you played the classic Flash game on Ouija?
No.
I think it's a Pico 8 game, actually. It's just Luigi, Mario 1 sprite, smoking a cigarette, and musing on the world.
That sounds canon to me. That sounds real. But, yeah, I loved Bonanza. Highly recommend. If you have a Costco membership, you can get it for $62 instead of $70, and I would recommend it for that. And I still don't condone games being $70. I really don't condone that, but Bonanza's really good, so consider it. To keep talking about Nintendo and Mario and all of his friends, very specifically his friends, a very strange bit of news came out on the Nintendo, what was it? The Nintendo Today app. which is how Nintendo is talking to us these days, I suppose. The quote is that they posted on their app: Princess Peach and Mario are good friends and help each other out whenever they can. So it seems like they're maybe starting to try to push back against Mario and Peach being a couple, which, I mean, Peach kind of rebukes Mario at the end of Odyssey, so maybe this is supposed to be them being like, well, she turned him down, but, he's cool with it, so they're just friends now.
I mean, he's low born.
I don't know what that means.
She can't be seen marrying someone like him. He's a plump.
He's a commoner. He's a proletarian, and she's a princess.
I don't know. It's just a bizarre thing that they like. I mean, I don't know. Like, you should be friends with your romantic partner. That should be part of it, of course. But it's just I don't know what they're trying to say. I don't know if they are in fact trying to push away from this.
Did they kiss in the movie?
I don't know. I don't think so. I can't remember them kissing, so yeah, maybe they are pushing away from that.
Mario is but the royal consort.
Exactly.
He's the guy who shows up. Yeah. Like, I mean, there's an argument to be made for it to be like, yeah, you know what, like, it's probably a good thing to present it as like, yeah, Mario's doing this not because he's, he's owed anything or because that there is a relationship between them. He's just doing it because he feels like it's right. Like, sure, that's maybe something good to say in a major game series, but also, like, yeah, there's just been so many, like, she's been smooching him, and she's been baking him cakes, and, they're getting called a couple on a lot of different pieces of media and all that, and now all of a sudden they're just like, they're good friends.
I mean, to be fair, they don't even live in the same house.
They don't. Mario's got his own place that he lives in with his brother, which is a little funny. I don't know. They didn't say anything about Luigi and Daisy, though. So, they're going strong. They had a statue in one of the Mario Kart, like, what was it, like Daisy Circuit or whatever? They had, like, that big statue of Luigi and Daisy, like, frolicking together. I don't even think you know what? Yeah, maybe they're right, because I never saw anything with Mario and Peach doing that. So yeah, maybe Mario and Peach are buddies, but Luigi and Daisy are, like, full-on dating and macking on each other off screen, and we're just not seeing it.
I mean, I can't conceive of Mario as a sexual being.
Yeah. I don't know. He's alive and existing, and I don't know. He's not actually alive.
He's too busy playing tennis to worry about all of the political infighting that would come from him trying to commit to something like that.
I'm trying to imagine Mario sexually, and I'm having a really hard time with
it. You can go on Google.
Yeah, Google.com
if you need some help.
Yeah,
Google.com/sexual Mario.
New window. Alright, hang on.
Everyone tell us your favorite sexual Mario concept. And all the classics, like, oh, he's got to eat the mushroom to get an erection. Nah, that's a good classic bit that everyone loves.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing a bit of it now.
There you go. Mario and the princess, they're living their lives. I don't know. It's just it's not like it's like shitty or whatever. It's just kind of weird that they felt like they had to say that, I guess.
Hey, you know what though? They got us to talk about their Nintendo News proprietary app, which seems like the most useless app ever. But because they put strange canonical facts on it, people are checking it.
That's true.
Please buy the Switch too. By the way, Mario and Peach do not fuck.
They don't. Buy our console. It's devoid of sex. except for when you go on the eShop and there's 500 hentai games on there because we don't moderate.
At this point in time, on this specific day in history, on July 2025 is the year, is it easier to sell your porn game on Nintendo Switch than on PC?
Probably.
It depends. Like, I don't think that they full-on allow for nudity on the Switch.
I have my Switch right next to me. I'm gonna go on the eShop and see how long it takes for me to find a porn game.
Like, you can purchase a game on the Switch called, like, Hentai Puzzle 6. But when you play that game, you're not actually going to see any nudity. They're just going to be in, like, bikinis and stuff.
It's not.
But on Steam, you can buy a game where they are full-on having intercourse, and you get to see all of it. Like, there is a bit of a difference there. But because of that difference, those games are under less scrutiny on the Switch, because you don't see anything. It's just called Hentai Puzzle 6. It doesn't actually involve hentai, capital H hentai.
Okay, moment of truth. How many games am I gonna have to scroll down in order to see? 0. Literally the first one. Hot Mom Simulator 2023. Got it. And
2023?
Oh wait, no. It just has a sexy, like, AI generated mom, and then it's just like cooking eggs and taking out the trash. What is the okay?
Who's the player character?
I guess the mom.
Are you the mom?
The hot mom that you're simulating. 2023.
You're simulating being the mom. Yeah, I mean, you know.
Oh, there we go. Hentai Puzzle Collection 14 and 1. That was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rows down. No, 11 rows. Okay, so in the most recent 33 games.
I completely made up the name Hentai Puzzle, and they just, they just had it. That was off the dome.
All right,
They just had it.
Directly after it is Hentai Golf.
Hentai Golf.
Solve Gamesline's hentai puzzle.
Oh my god.
Okay, and then there's one that's Yabai Girls, Elegant Egyptian, which, you know that image of the white guy in the pharaoh outfit? It looks
White
like
pharaoh.
a generated girl version of that.
Damn.
Should put her on the side of the Bass Pro pyramid.
Why is there so much of this fucking slop on here?
It's
Let me
really
never go on
bad.
the
It's really
eShop.
bad. It's really bad.
This is just
I
a
don't
game
know.
called
It's
Titty
rough.
Drop on here. It's just a game called Titty Drop on the eShop.
Damn, really?
Holy
Shit.
shit, it's 50% off?
Lest we get inundated with the number of hentai games on the Switch eShop.
Yeah, we gotta. This can't be the entire episode. We gotta move on. There was a sort of Nintendo news release this past week. It wasn't really anything too crazy. They had their Pokemon Presents. They were pushing it pretty hard. Last week I was like, oh man, I bet they'll announce Gen 10 here. They didn't do anything of the sort.
Lol.
Yeah, that's why I didn't full on bet on it. This wasn't me being like, I'm all in on Gen 10, baby. You know what's happening. I was like, they did something similar. I could see it happening, but they didn't. They spent some time just talking about a lot of stuff that they had announced previously. They started off. Let's see here. One thing actually released ahead of time. They accidentally released Pokemon Friends on mobile and Switch a little early. It is a puzzle game where it is basically like one of those. It's one of those like puzzles where you're like connecting like electrical currents basically, and it's just a bunch of puzzles like that. I think where it's just connecting different rows and you're making a track for a train to go down.
There's a lot of different puzzle types, but they all are in that same vein. Like, you would give this to a 4-year-old.
Yeah. And you collect plushies, like yarn plushies, as you finish the puzzles. And it's free on mobile, but then there's a couple of like bundles of more puzzles that you can buy, and then the version on the Switch is like $11 or something, and it comes with like one or two of the bundles, so it just has more puzzles built in, and then they have like another bundle or two available to purchase. I don't know. I mean, it just seems like a really weird release thing. Like I feel like they should have just released it in full on Switch, because I bet they were like, we can't release this like this on mobile because people need to have it for free, and then they need to get hooked on it, and then they need to pay more. But you know, they should have just charged full price for it on the Switch. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird release, and I don't think anyone is talking about it at all because it's such a simple, dumb little thing. They talked about some of the other like side games. You know, they were talking about there's more trading card game stuff. Both the physical game and the Pocket game. I don't even think they talked about Pocket on the stream, but I think someone like leaked the next expansion ahead of time or too early, so that just got revealed too. Anyway, it's going to be a Gen 2 focused expansion. Pokemon Concierge, which is very good. I would highly recommend anybody watch Pokemon Concierge. That's the Netflix show. Season 2 is going to be out on September 4th on Netflix. I think Pokemon Concierge does some of the best in showcasing the Pokemon world as a place that has normal people in it. Like, these are people who are not Pokemon trainers, but they are still interacting with this world because Pokemon are still such a large part of it, but they still have their own lives. Like, and this is the first time where I've been like, oh, these people are talking about like having an ex-boyfriend and, you know, worrying about their job. And Psyduck is there.
The Pokemon company
like,
is so good at brand management. They're targeting all age demographics.
Yeah, exactly. But then the other thing that they talked about was the Aardman show that they announced, or I guess it's just, yeah, it is a series. It's going to be a series. I don't know if it's going to be what it's going to be on, like if they're going to put it on YouTube, if they're putting it on like something like Netflix or whatever. But they showed a very short teaser of this project called Pokemon Tales: The Misadventures of Sirfetch'd and Pichu. Which, if you don't know Sirfetch'd, that was the new evolution of Farfetch'd that they made in Gen 8. That is a knight. He's got the leak that Farfetch'd has is a big old sword, and he's got a shield now. So he's like a knight, and Pichu is going to be following along, having mischievous adventures with Sirfetch'd, I suppose. But that's not until 2027. So we've got about a year and a half until that comes out.
Pokemon Don Quixote is such a good idea.
It's a really good idea. And the teaser also did have Wooloo, which is the sheep Pokemon, which, if you know Aardman, of course there's a sheep. They talked about some extra stuff that's going on in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, like there's going to be raids where you can get shiny versions of the Ruin Pokemon, which there haven't been shiny versions available of them yet. But the way they're doing it is you have to you don't get them immediately. You go into a raid to fight them, but if they're defeated 1,000,000 times overall, then they'll be sent out to everybody as a mystery gift. So everyone has to kick their ass, is what needs to happen. They also talked about how there's going to be a Poke Park. There's going to be a theme park in Japan's Yomuri Land amusement park. They're going to have like a big ol' area there, opening early next year. That's Pokemon themed. I mean, I'll be honest. Like I know I'm not like a Disney adult. I'm not like crazy about theme parks. But if I do go there and I do walk into a building that looks exactly like a Pokemon Center, I think I will cry a little bit. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I will. Let's see. Yeah, all the card game stuff, yada yada. And then the last two game things that they talked about Pokemon Champions, which it just straight up seems to be them saying, you know what, we are making an official battle simulator that works pretty much like Pokemon Showdown, the unofficial web-based one. It's coming out next year. The general the basic like guess that everyone is having is that they're just going to use this for battles from now on, and then this will allow for more experimental games in the future. Like Gen 10 will be able to do stuff that isn't this exact battle scheme, which is interesting. It's going to have a bunch of different formats and stuff, and you're going to be able to edit your Pokemon stats directly in the game without having to worry about, like, you know, bottle caps or items and stuff like that. They haven't fully explained what the stats are exactly. Like, I don't want to go too inside baseball, but, like, there's, like, 3 or 4 different things you can change for your Pokemon in the game, in the regular games, and it seems like they've simplified it here, so we're kind of waiting to see what exactly those numbers mean. Like, they showed like numbers and they were like, you can edit these stats by using, you know, points that you get from battling. Like, they're saying that, like, you know, you're going to be able to earn those points from playing the game. But I'm guessing because it's free to play, I bet they'll be like, yeah, you can also just buy them too if you know, want to edit your Pokemon really fast or whatever. And you can also actually get Pokemon in that game and then use them as well, so you don't have to go and catch them in a base game. Like, if you don't have a Pokemon game, you could just play this and you can build a team still. Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that we don't know fully about it yet, but in theory it's exciting to have a battle sim that is full 3D and gives you that freedom and isn't a massive grind. Like, that's exciting.
Do people still actually grind out their Pokemon, or is it just that cheating is accepted if you don't break any rules?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, if you're going to play in tournaments, they are very strict. Like, they have a lot of different ways to, like, figure out if your Pokemon has been generated. But also, like, yeah, if you're like, you know, if your Pokemon's equivalent to a legal Pokemon, then yeah, it's like, whatever. But also the grind is way shorter than it's ever been. The literal only thing is that there are certain Pokemon that you would want to have low IVs, which IVs are your inherent values. They're like, for the longest time, you weren't able to edit them after your Pokemon was born, basically. It was just like, you know, it was supposed to be their, like, base genetics or whatever, you know, like, oh, this one is good at attack, but bad at special attack or whatever. And so for some Pokemon, you would want them to have, like, a low attack stat because they're a special attacker, and if they get confused, then they hit themselves in confusion for less damage because they're using a physical move on themselves. Or a Pokemon that you want to be slow for whatever reason. You'd want their speed IVs to be 0. But there's no way to lower your IVs post-capture or breeding still. You can raise them. You can raise them all the way up, which, like, for, like, 95% of the time, you would just want to raise them all the way up. But for those, like, little 5, that was, like, the last thing that was fully stopping people from being like, yeah, I can just make whatever Pokemon I want. So what people are thinking is that they might have actually just made IVs, like, neutral in this game. So you're just editing the EVs, you're just editing one stat, and you don't have to worry about the other stat. Which, if that is the case, then that does solve the issue completely. If it's just like, yeah, like everyone just has the same IVs, it doesn't matter, it's all even, and then you can just edit this stat, that solves it. That solves, if they do that, then that solves it. But they didn't fully outright say it, so we need to wait and see exactly what's up with that. I don't know. Have any of you played competitive Pokemon?
Like 20 years ago, I was big into competitive Pokemon in the Pokemon net battle scene.
Okay.
I wish that Pokemon breeding and the natural variation of EVs and IVs and natures was not so annoying to engage with, because the games are not difficult enough that it matters at all, and in PvP, it's just not worth the time to do all that for a very slight advantage. You might as well just mix up your moves instead. I
mean, you would think, but there's so many little nuances and stuff that is really cool. Like, I enjoy watching competitive Pokemon, and I enjoy, like, keeping up with that stuff. But yeah, I do think that shaving some of that off, like it seems like they're doing with Champions, where, yeah, like if they just get rid of IVs, and then it's just like, oh yeah, you can like edit your EVs a little bit. So, because like, there's so many weird little nuances, like, oh yeah, you want to have a, you know, you're going to enter a battle with a Pokemon that's level 99 instead of level 100, because then its speed will be slightly lower. So if you're using Trick Room that flips, you know, makes slower Pokemon move first, your level 99 Pokemon's going to move before the level 100 one. You know, it's like I love stuff like that. It's little weird nuances that you can just build together and do all kinds of crazy shit with your team. And so I'm hoping that Champions will allow for that, especially because it'll be easier to just build the team that you want to make without having to worry about getting a bunch of items. And I mean, like, it's easier than it's ever been in Scarlet and Violet, but removing that friction entirely and just making it, let's battle, let's throw down, like, that's exciting in its own way too.
The way that they're pitching this with once a day you can do stuff or you can pay, it makes it seem to me like the adjustments will not be as free and easy as they are in the simulators.
Sure. I mean, we'll see. I'm hoping, from what I have heard from different sources and all that, like, I don't think that they're like planning on going after Pokemon Showdown or anything like that, especially because like they, you know, like there's so many different you know, like unique rules and regulations and like old game competitive and all that Showdown has, that they're not going to want to shut that down because it keeps a lot of those older games alive, and that would piss off too many people. And it doesn't overlap with what they're trying to do with the competitive scene as well. But I think having this alternate path to this alternate stuff, I want to see how easy it is, because you're right that like if it is just one of those things where it's like, yeah, you know, you get this many points and then once you hit that, then you're just screwed. Like, there needs to be as little friction as possible. Like, I understand that they want to have at least a little tiny bit so they can make some kind of money off of it, because it's a, you know, we're in a capitalist society, etc., etc. But I would just hope that it's as little as possible, because if like just a smidge too much just means that people are just going to keep using Showdown or generating their Pokemon instead of doing this. And I think they do realize that. I think they do understand that. But there's always going to be the looming desire to squeeze some money out of people. So,
do you know how is the VGC scene healthy right now?
Absolutely. And I think that the other thing that like helps out with Showdown continuing to coexist with it is that Showdown is much more focused on singles, and VGC is more focused on double battles. So that allows for a lack of overlap. But no, VGC is it's big. You know, like the tournaments are always very large. Like I think some of the more recent tournaments have been their largest tournaments of all time. You know, for VGC and TCG, and I mean, they're still playing fucking Pokemon Go competitively, which is insane to me.
What I'm surprised no one has made is a competing PvP JRPG inspired by Pokemon, but it's not Pokemon, and you can do whatever you want in it.
I think a lot of people have tried to do that, and it just hasn't taken off.
Because it doesn't have
You know?
Pikachu.
Doesn't have Pikachu. And it doesn't have Mega Dragonite, which Pokemon Legends ZA does. That was the last thing they talked about, was they said, hey, we're coming out with Legends ZA, and hey, we're announcing a brand new Mega Pokemon at Mega Dragonite. And a lot of people are pissed as fuck about it.
Are they
There's
pissed,
a lot of people
John?
that are very... I think so. I've been seeing some people being like, why does it look like that? This design sucks. They're stupid for making this Pokemon look like this. And I'm just like, all right. Come on.
Is there a crusade against the Mega Dragonite?
I mean, there's a crusade against... The thing with Pokemon is that no matter what they do, there is always going to be a crusade against it. There's always going to be somebody complaining about every single aspect about Pokemon. But there's also going to be just as many people pissed at those people. Which I'm not fully pissed. I'm just like, it's crazy that there has to be an argument about literally everything. Like, my stance is just like, they're not forcing you to catch it. They're not forcing you to use this Pokemon. You don't have to use Mega Dragonite if you don't like it. So, it's there. It's got wings on his head and on the ankles, and on the tail is like a the orb like Dragonair has. So it's like a combination of Dragonite and Dragonair.
I think it looks hideous. Can't lie.
I think it looks cute. So we have to kill each other now.
No, we don't. We can simply agree to disagree.
No, we're online. We have to fight.
But do you? I mean, is it necessary
No,
to fight what some people say?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Nicholas, how do you feel about all this Pokemon stuff? Are you? I should ask. I don't even know. Are you a Pokemon guy? Like, I know you've mentioned that you like Nintendo stuff, but do you care about Pokemon?
I do not really give much of a shit about Pokemon. I played the original Gen 1 games, didn't really like them. I played Gen 7, the original, not the Ultra games. Those were, I would say, good. I don't have a whole lot to say on them, but like, they were good. I tried Gen 5, I was like, this is the most boring RPG ever, and I stopped playing it. And I like the Gen 1 anime, and I haven't really checked out most of the other. I am not a Pokemon guy. I watch competitive PokeTubers like Big Yellow and Reverend. That is the most I engage with it. I made Pokemon fan designs years back. But, like, I have engaged with it consistently, but not enough to where I'm like, I'm a Pokemon guy. Yeah, I like Pokemon.
Sure.
I will sit there and listen to people talk about Pokemon, but I am not gonna get in on it myself all the time.
Okay. And I remember I tried to get Lily into Pokemon a bit ago. And I think we should probably get back to it, because we were trying to play through Gen 5, actually, like, concurrently. And then we both kind of just fell off of it. But I would love to get back onto that, because I do love Gen 5. But,
I mean, I'm on the level of cultural awareness about Pokemon as that, like, one, like, Pokemon creatures political comic. Like... I'm like a grandma, like I can identify, like, yeah, I know that yellow rat creature. I know what that is. But you could make me play that one like made up game where it was like prescription medicine or Pokemon, and I would lose every single time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think everyone should at least put their hands on a Pokemon game. Whether it's a full, like, release or even a ROM hack. Because there's some really cool ROM hacks out there. I love Pokemon ROM hacks. I love Pokemon.
I mean, if we feel like having a fight today,
Okay, let's go.
the big reason, the big reason I have never personally cared for Pokemon games, aside from personal clashes in like aesthetic, game design, etc. The main reason I like playing JRPGs in the first place is the party dynamics, the ensembles, the characters.
Sure.
And again, this extends beyond Pokemon, like as a concept. I, for a very long time, had like a really hard time conceptualizing as like the creatures in my party as like animals or like things that I could project emotion onto. And so it never felt like, oh no, my buddy who I named and, you know, he's been with me since the beginning. It's, oh no, my bullshit idiot dragon got his forehead kicked in by a guy wearing blue pajamas.
Yeah, but I like that.
And I mean, like, again, like, different people have different, like, perspectives on that kind of thing. And again, I'm trying to alter that perspective. Because, like, again, when I
You
wrote...
have fun. You have fun with what you like,
again,
you know?
I think that there are lots of different ways to appreciate games, and that I really do. And I like I cited in my older review, being able to project emotion onto fictional characters is not just like, I don't know, a way of producing value from nothing. It is also a way to kind of facilitate a deeper bond between you and the art you're participating with. And like, I don't know, like, it's kind of like the same reason why I've never been into dungeon crawlers, because if I'm just generating 4 guys and we're going down into the mauling pit together, like, who cares if the wizard died? I don't know that guy.
Sure. No, I get it. I totally get it.
I would say I am someone who is good at projecting onto blank slate characters. However, in Pokemon, it's not, they're not actually blank slate enough, especially these days, where like you go to a Pokemon camp or you make a sandwich for them or something, and they all behave basically the same way. The differences in their personalities suggested by Pokédex entries are not really reflected in any of their behavior in game, and I think that makes them all feel too similar.
Yeah, and I mean, like, again, having a relationship reflected by things like stats, where it's like, oh, this Pokemon has an unfriendly disposition. That kind of immersion could be upped if their in-game actions reflected that in any way, or if they didn't feel the need to stipulate on that kind of thing at all. Like, if you're the kind of person who's like, well, I can kind of pretend that my Charizard is a bit of a shithead. If he's, like, being your buddy because you made him a sandwich, that mental image is going to come crumbling down pretty fast.
They do have the natures, and yet a jolly Charizard is never particularly jollier than a naughty Charizard. And I think I understand why they can't do this, because they have over 1,000 Pokemon now, and you can't make unique animations for all of them. But, like, I don't know, what if you made, like, as many different sets of animations as you had natures?
I mean, if I was going to speak outspokenly critically of Pokemon games as like a concept. They could make a Pokemon game where there are only 50 Pokemon in it.
Yes.
And really go all out on actually making each of those animate in unique and novel ways and just go absolutely all out.
Yes, please.
But at the same time, like, Pokemon fans, parentheses derogatory, are the types where you will see them in comments and talking about how, well, I expected this new Pokemon game to have every Pokemon in it, and I expected it to have every region, and also I want to be able to make red and blue make out with tongue, and Nintendo's not giving me that, and and if I don't get that in the next game, I'm still gonna buy it anyway for $600.
Yeah, that's the thing that's always been insane to me. Like, I'm someone who, like, will buy these games all the time and all that, and I love them to bits. But the people that drive me nuts is like with the new Legends Z to A trailer. A bunch of the comments are just people being like, Nintendo, why aren't you listening to us? Why haven't you made a Pokemon MMO where you bring all the regions and you just go around with your friends? And it's like, because it would suck ass. Like, that's why they don't do it. Because it would suck.
Yeah, but Pokemon games suck anyway.
Some of them do. Some of them are good.
Like?
Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 5, Gen 7, Gen 9, Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire, Pokemon
You've
XD
unleashed the
Galadarcus.
Pokemon liker.
I could go on. I could go on. No, you're okay. I won't keep going. I could keep going, but I'm not going to.
I would love for a Pokemon game to sacrifice quantity for some quality.
Sure.
Well, I mean, you can see that same thing just in general with how, like, the best games, like, are ones that understand and intimately grapple with a specific scope in mind. If you are constantly pushed to make the biggest thing you've ever made, your detail and your attention is going to suffer. And especially when you have thousands of Pokemon, and some guy is just going to tell you, they cut my favoriteest Pokemon ever, and they'll complain about it, so you can't lose your sales of that guy. They are stuck in a position where you have to choose how many that guys you are willing to upset. Yeah. And it has led to an approach where they want quantity over any kind of easily digestible scope.
Yeah, because Gen 5 was almost that. It is as close to a reboot as they have gotten, because before you beat the game, none of the old Pokemon show up. It is just new Gen 5 Pokemon. They made like another around 150, and it is just those Pokemon. And when you finish the game, then it's like, okay, yeah, a bunch of old Pokemon showed up. But that was also back when there were like 400, so it was a little more reasonable. But now there's 1,000 plus, and it's nuts. But also, yeah, there's so many. Like I do agree with your concept, where it would be interesting to cut it down, or just have this region, like make a new region and it's just those new Pokemon and that's it, and then they're really polished and all that kind of stuff. Like, that would be cool. Like, I feel similarly about Smash Bros. Like the other Nintendo franchise that I love to bits. I don't want them to, if they make a new one, I don't want it to be Smash Ultimate, bring everybody back and more. I would love for them to reboot it. I want them to polish those old characters and make them different, because the Mario that they created in Smash 64 has just been lately iterated on this entire time, and like, Mario has so many different abilities and, so many different things that you can put callbacks into. So, I would like to see like Mario used Cappy and used Flood in different ways, and like all these different things, and like Link, they kind of sort of upgraded Link, but it's like, really upgrade Link, like use the Breath of the Wild stuff in his moveset.
I mean, if I had a wish list for something like Smash, again, tighten the scope, make them all like Nintendo first-party characters, have the audacity to say, hey, there's only ever going to be like 12 characters in this game, and we are going to make them the best possible versions of those characters where everyone is legitimately interesting, rather than 11 different variants of sword fighters.
I don't want to go too far in that direction, because there needs to be a good amount of characters, because they need to put weird-ass characters in there. Like, if you limit it too much, then they're not going to put, like, the Duck Hunt dog in there,
Well, why do you need that?
Because it's good. It's good as hell. Like, I don't know. It's fun.
They should charge $80 for 12 characters and sell you new characters every 2 months.
Are you just saying that as to me specifically as punishment? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that role playing as a Nintendo executive.
They should make the new Smash Brothers a one-of-a-time event that you can only show up to for one night, and then it never exists again.
Now we're talking.
I mean, the frustrating thing is that I would probably not go to that, because I don't really like Smash Bros. Fans, so I wouldn't want to be around them.
You don't want to see a bunch of people dressed like Yoshi and Mario, like, beating each other up WWE style?
Are you talking about the fucking, Slam Fest thing that's lost media that people are insane about? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about I want Smash fans to fight in an arena Blood Bowl style, and then they also just close it down and they don't let them out ever again, because anyone willing to pay for that.
I guess I'd be safe then. All right, sure.
I'd go in.
$1,400 a ticket.
I'd go in. I could wipe so many Smash Bros. Fans off the face of the planet. Hell yeah.
12 Smash characters. Pick them.
I mean, I think it would just be the characters. It's just the characters that are in the N64 game.
I'm gonna hit you with my amazing roster. All right.
Okay.
All right.
I love this. Okay. Mario.
Mm-hmm.
Olimar. The worm from Worms.
Okay.
That's not a Nintendo character. We're only doing Nintendo characters, right?
Nintendo bought the company, so they get the worm from...
Okay.
Pyra and Mithra, but blue.
Rex, but he's not blue. Zeke again.
The one really depressed, middle manager Pokemon master.
Look.
The substitute doll from Pokemon.
Sure.
Sorry, we'll stop torturing John now.
You guys are so mean to me.
And Monokuma as a guest character.
I've actually been kind of down for Monokuma for a while. I don't know. I'm down for that.
That's fine. Single unopened copy of 100 line.
Yo.
Oh my god.
Darumi's getting in the next Smash game. You will have to accept this.
All right. Y'all are. This is the Nintendo fans. Yeah, this is the Nintendo fans' struggle. Everyone is mean to me, and I have to take it because you're kind of right.
The thumbnail for this episode is just going to be John on a cross.
It's like stupid Smash Bros. Characters looking at him,
crying.
Yeah. Blue Pyra and Mithra, Monokuma.
Why are they blue?
What? Because they said blue earlier. There's Pyra and Mithra, and then there's blue Pyra and Mithra, and they take up 4 character slots.
Okay. Lily, is there any other games you want to talk about?
I will talk about the dungeon crawling adjacent game that surprised me. So I got System Shock 1 recently. And so the thing was, I had never played a ton of like the Looking Glass like school of games. Like I was really into like the ImSim stuff, but I didn't play further back into System Shock 1. And the sales pitch for System Shock 1 was not anything that I would have been particularly like interested in originally, because while System Shock 2 is like an ImSim, it's got the survival horror elements, it's got violent techno, which are all things that I am into. System Shock 1 is like this kind of odd, like, because in System Shock 1, Shodan is kind of like the dungeon itself. She is the games master who's constantly screwing you over. I've never played the original, but after playing the remake, I honestly might now. Because what's really interesting about it to me is like, despite it being like a kind of boxy like series of corridors, it does a really good job of making you imagine what these spaces are for, because it's so self-contained on like a spaceship. And I ended up doing the entire floor in like one night for like the first floor, and I was just kind of shocked that it was really one of those cases where I was just completely locked in the entire time, because I have never been one of those like murder hobo type D&D players where it's like I have to scrape every single piece of like goo off the walls because it might eventually be useful. No, in this case, I was like just repeatedly dumping stuff in like the recycle, and like I was just super invested into crawling around the map, which is absolutely not like me and how I play games. So I don't know, maybe Shodan hit me with the payment processor denied hypno-ray, so I don't know. I don't know what happened between me and this game.
Couldn't tell you. So yeah, I mean, what stands out for it to you, other than, you know, what you've kind of mentioned already? Like, what's making you feel like you need to go back to the original as well?
Well, the thing is, I want to see how much of it existed in the original and how much of... Because, again, it kind of borrows a lot of DNA from System Shock 2.
Right.
And, like, because it has the grid-based inventory, it has all of that kind of stuff. And in System Shock 1, because I've seen footage of System Shock 1, but it has all of the stuff that I found really immersive playing this version, where it's like you have these audio logs, you almost have this weird, very adversarial, very very toxic Yuri relationship with Shodan, especially because you can be a woman now. And it's really fascinating because Shodan, like, we have this like odd language that we use around video games, where when we talk about video games, we talk about beating the video game. We don't say like, I defeated the level designer when we finished a video game. And in a weird way, System Shock kind of flips that on its head, because Shodan is like a person in the game. And so she is directly like the architect of all of your suffering. And that's like a thing that a lot of video games get wrong, where the villain isn't enough of a presence to actually make you care about wanting to stop them. Because, funnily enough, Shodan is enough of a presence in these games where you want to screw her over because how much of an asshole she is to you. And that's a thing that a lot of games fail at. It's like, why do I hate this guy? Well, he's gonna destroy the world. And it's like, yeah, that abstractly kind of affects me, but it's not screwing with me personally. When I'm fighting Shodan and she drops like 14 mutants on me when I was just trying to get loot, now it becomes personal because I'm mad at her now. Because you literally personified the dungeon. And I think that's just really smart game design.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Especially because when you go between floors, she literally takes your respawns away between floors. So while you're originally exploring the floor, you can't respawn, so you have to play super carefully, and you're like swearing in the back of your head, like, "Oh my God, Shodan, why did you fill this entire room with radioactive barrels and mutants, you monster?"
This asshole.
So is this why both Bioshock and Portal are like that? Is this the origin of that kind of dynamic?
I feel like the funny thing is, like, with those particular games in general, Portal maybe less so, but I feel like in that kind of sense, those two games grandfather that element in without directly doing a good enough job to indicate like they are specifically the one creating like your misery here. Because, like, yeah, GLaDOS is messing with you basically the entire time you're playing that game. It is clinical and detached in that kind of way where Valve almost loves you too much. Where, like, I think about the cut version of where, like, GLaDOS was allowed to be much meaner to the player. And Valve was like, "Oh, well, this is, like, actually upsetting our playtesters, so we have to cut that out." And it's like, no, make GLaDOS even meaner to me. It'll make it that much sweeter when, like, the mute lady who has not done anything all game directly spiting this woman gets to just, like, flip her power switch.
Yeah.
So the solution to gaming really is to put more mean women in video games. I think that's what we need to do as like a community.
Can't argue with that.
Shut up, John.
Oh, okay.
There, see, self-fulfilling.
Do you want to talk about the other thing that you've been playing?
I do. So as we know, I am a disaster that plays too many games at once, and I got back into Trails in the Sky second chapter. I just finished chapter 2, and John, funnily enough, got me in on this series by buying me the first chapter, I want to say like a year and a half ago. But in John's words, he said, quote, "Lily, you'll probably like this game because, quote, lots of Xeno freaks seem to like this game."
Yeah?
And it is, like, really funny because I have never played, like, a ton of Falcom games. I feel like that's how I start every single one of these segments. But it comes from the fact that I'm trying to self-enrich. I'm in that arc of my life. But I've never played a ton of Falcom games. And I got into them fairly recently as, like, a case of divergent, like, evolution. And it's so weird sometimes to play games that you know that if you had experienced them earlier in your life, you would have nostalgia for them now. Like, I have a lot of games that I had the privilege of experiencing at very, very young ages, and they were very formative to me. Like, Xenogears was a game that I historically played way too young to be capable of reckoning with some of the themes that it had. But I have always been, like, super attached to the sprites with a digitized, like, background kind of deal. And it is kind of fascinating because we had a transitional period where we wanted to jump from sprites to polygons as quickly as possible. But I just love this, like, interstitial state. Like, I love Grandia, where it is, like, this fully CG, like, rendered polygonal, like, world maps where there's sprites on it, because you can make the sprites super expressive and big on the camera. And, like, the other thing that continuously surprises me, that makes me forget that, like, this game isn't older than it is, like, it has sprites, but they're doing, like, in-camera, like, camera pans and, like, combat, like, choreography with just sprites. And like that's just really ambitious for the time that these games came out, and it just continuously surprises me in that particular sense. The story is also kind of interesting because if those of you not in the know, basically the premise of the Trails in the Sky first arc is that you are playing as like characters in like the Bracer Guild, which even I have jokingly called cops before, but they're like a community outreach program of like civilians that don't have like arrest authority. They're just helping people.
Mhm.
But then they have to keep dealing with bigger and bigger problems because more and more political shit starts happening. And I think that's really interesting because they are doing this thing where you are going from stopping the evil organization that is probably going to destabilize and explode our country back down to someone moved a painting in my house and I don't know where it is. So it would be like if JRPG characters had to periodically go check on like life alert buzzes.
Yeah.
Arguably the worst time I've had with the game though is all of the gameplay, which is why it kind of makes me sad because it's kind of like a tactics game because you can like move them around on like a board of movement.
Mm-hmm.
But the combat's just not that interesting to me, and I know partially that is because I'm a JRPG sicko at this point, and I want things that are needlessly complex and archaic, but there just comes a certain point where you're just picking the same option over and over again, and that's something that I've criticized in Final Fantasy, and this game does not escape my ire in that respect either.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I didn't put any footage while you were talking because pretty much every video on YouTube is just people fighting the final boss for some reason. So I was just like, okay, I'm not putting any of that up on there, I guess.
No, especially considering I haven't personally finished it yet.
Exactly.
I might have been mad at you.
Yeah, I don't want to piss anybody off, especially not you. So there's that. Nicholas, do you want to wrap up our personal gaming conversations with one last little detail that the game that you've been up to?
Sure, but first I want to follow up the Trails in the Sky talk of, I thought, when I tried the first chapter, like a year back, I thought, yeah, this is pretty cool. Well, is it first chapter? Because I only have one of them in Steam. That was certainly the first one, but it wasn't labeled first chapter. It was just labeled Trails in the Sky, so I imagine it's just that, and it's not like the Steam version just has all of them together, because I'm pretty sure I've seen the other ones on the store.
It's kind of one of those things where it didn't have the subtitle when it originally came out, and then as that franchise got more and more like colossally big, they retroactively added the first chapter because that's the naming convention for the other two in that arc. But I think now the remake, they're calling it Trails in the Sky First Chapter, so that I think that also muddies the waters a bit.
Yeah.
I started playing it a while back, and I have to echo the fact that I liked the main characters and like the concept enough. It was just a matter of the combat was so simple. It really just felt like there was an objectively correct thing to do when playing this game for longer than it would be in a lot of other RPGs. Like, I got, I think, 10 or so hours in, and it was like, yeah, I've just been doing the exact same thing in every single battle. I want
go ahead,
there to be. I want there to be more complexity in the games I play. The story is fine. It is not good enough for me to be willing to sit through this many random encounters that play out this identically away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's particularly bad because, like, take for example Final Fantasy. When you're fighting a bomb, a historically, like, fire enemy, hitting it with ice does, like, a bunch more damage. In Trails, it's like 20% a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Maybe upwards to 1.5 times, but it's just not enough to justify doing an action other than just hit them.
And It's a shame because I've heard a lot of nice things about Trails, but
Well,
I want to play a game.
the
that has
funny
more
thing
to it.
is I've seen gameplay footage of other arcs where I'm like, oh wow, that gameplay looks way more compelling. But I also like feel like I want to start down here because all the other games reference backward and you have characters from these games showing up in those games, so I don't want to like... I'm not even like a FOMO person. It's more like I want to understand the story structure they're trying to go for.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of the appeal of the series is specifically like being able to connect with the same. But it's like it's hard to get through these first ones because it's walk up to the enemy and press attack.
I mean, that's why they're doing the remake, I guess, you know? They're trying to bring it all up into lockstep, so that makes sense to me.
Feel bad making the basic gameplay complain about RPGs because whenever I make it in my head, it sounds like I'm also the guy that only plays Paper Mario and Undertale and Persona 5 going, RPGs are so boring, dude. It's like, no, I don't want to be that guy.
No.
I
You're nuanced.
don't want to sound like that.
You're good. This is a nuanced environment. You're fine.
And I mean, like, here's the other thing, right? The reasons that those games have the appeal that they do is, I think I've said before, like, a large part of, like, JRPGs, you can play them in incredibly simplistic and unfun ways, and I think one of the worst things that JRPGs tend to do is that they are generally kind of terrible at onboarding you out of boring, dominant strategy. And where games like Persona 5 and Paper Mario excel is they don't allow you to autopilot those games. Like, in something like Paper Mario, you have to choose, at the simplest level, do I want to jump on this enemy or do I want to hit them with the hammer? And both are, you know, tactically nuanced decisions depending on the situation. Final Fantasy wants you to have a fun time by utilizing your resources correctly, casting the right spells on the right enemies. But if you can use less thought and just hit attack 4 times, most people are going to do that, are going to have a worse time, and then as a result they're going to say that this particular genre is bad and outdated and should be dead, even though we have clearly demonstrated that we can do it better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's the best JRPG battle system?
Claire Obscure. No, this weekend.
No, don't dip, dude. Not cool, man.
I'm having fun.
You want me to talk about Smash Bros. Again? I can talk about Smash Bros. Again.
Stop! Come on!
My answer is... I don't know if Star Ocean 2 counts, because that's kind of like an action RPG before those were a big thing. I guess my answer for like being safe, I know this counts, is Labyrinth of Toho 2. That one is really, really good.
My answer is like multi-layered because I can't like say that one particular one is like the absolute crystalline best because they all have like different layers on which you can engage with them. But if I was to say like what my personal favorite, like what is like the specific level of crunchy that I like messing with, I really, really like Final Fantasy X-2's gameplay mechanics. Like, it adds, like, because Final Fantasy X, like, as a vanilla game, it really, really wants you to play in specific ways that are meant to disassemble the specific strengths of the enemies that you're fighting. Use X character on Y solution, and you're meant to swap them out, and a lot of enemies are meant to be put together in various different, like, puzzle configurations.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that is, as you see all of the tricks that the game uses, it gets very simplistic because you trying to just go through the motions. It's hit attack with extra steps. Because Final Fantasy X has like the dress sphere system, it has chain attacks, it has like the timed like, you know, button presses, it has all of these different crunchy granular elements where you have like these 3 primary cast members, you can mess with them as much as you want, you can unlock a bunch of stuff. Like, The worst JRPG combat systems are ones where they show you the entire ensemble of stuff that you can do at the very beginning, and the game never gets more complex than that. What makes games like Undertale, Deltarune, Super Smash Bros. You got me saying that now. Paper Mario interesting is because they add new toys for your toy box every couple of hours. I really tend to, because it kind of adds those elements in ways where there is specific granularities that are fun to mess with in many different scenarios.
I like SMT. I love press turn.
It is very satisfying to exploit press turn.
I love being able to just roll with it and kick some ass. It's fun. It's fun. Nicholas, did you say you said your favorite, right?
Yeah. Obviously,
Okay.
there's a lot of different weaknesses and strengths, but I think I might as well say my favorites because obviously it is an entire
Sure.
discussion in and of itself. There's a lot of different ones I could say, but I think it's best to just go with the ones that I'd be like, yeah, I think these are the strongest
Yeah.
because they expect a level of engagement that they get out of you and are satisfying to engage with.
I feel like I've forgotten all the RPGs I've ever played, but I do like Final Fantasy 1. I feel like it's less the moment-to-moment combat itself and more about the overall sense of progression through a dungeon, about the cost that your actions in battle have on your adventure. The spell slots in FF1 means you have to use your spells judiciously.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like, in a big way, controversial opinion, I really hate non-tailored encounters in lots of JRPGs. Like, the part of the stuff that I really like about games like Lisa the Painful is that there are very, very few story-based, non-directly interacting with your resources encounters. That's part of what makes that game so strong in my mind, is every person you kill in that game is a real, named character. And that kind of exactly falls into that kind of thing, where everything that you do in combat does directly interface with your relationship with the other half of the mechanics. You're not being whooshed away to another plane of existence to beat someone up.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, those are those games that are extremely difficult to recommend to anyone because of their subject matter.
Yeah, Nicholas, let's hear.
Actually, wait, I have one more.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Great Greed for the Game Boy.
Great Greed.
So it's a turn-based RPG, but it's not menu-based. Instead, you assign spells to the D-pad, and you press A to attack, and battles have a very fast pace where you're just trading blows constantly. So even though it is fundamentally turn-based, the pace of battles is so fast that it feels like an action game.
I haven't heard of this one. I gotta hop on this. Seems cool. Yeah, Nicholas, if you do want to go ahead now, you may proceed.
It's really short, really cheap, pretty platformer called Super TV 64. It was made by, I don't know the guy's name, but he makes a bunch of stuff like this. He also made Tori, Mac Badge, and specifically going for Nintendo 64 style aesthetics and really short games that he releases one a year for $1 or $2 or something. And it was pretty fun, but I was also able to get it done in 40 minutes. I don't know why.
I mean, it is $3.
Yeah, I don't know why I put it with the other games I wanted to talk about, because there really is nothing to say. It's just I think I put it there because it was a follow-up of the conversation last time of oh yeah, stuff like Nobu's Number Factory is second manga style games, but I don't really use that kind of game for second manga stuff. I try to play little platforms, shooters, or games that I feel have a lot of substance depth to them, but I don't have to actually focus on. Like, the QE64, I was playing it while I was watching a show with some friends that they wanted me to watch. More specifically, the Donkey Kong Country animated TV show, which
What are you doing?
Quite a show. Hey, don't judge me, okay? That show's really fun.
I'm not judging you. I'm just trying to figure out what's up.
The point of the matter is, I think I want to talk about basically just the kinds of things that I like doing as that sort of like not really paying attention, the second monitor, because usually the games I play are the kinds that I want to engage with fully, like RPGs or tactics or whatever. So I think that this sort of going into like these more, how do I say this in a way that doesn't sound like I'm being insulting? The kinds of games that Nintendo would make and focus on are like the ideal kinds of games for me when I'm not actually trying to pay too much attention to them. Because like that kind of fun little platformer or racer or whatever, I think that's the kind of game I think is ideal for when I'm just putzing around doing something else or I don't want to engage too deeply with it. But I liked it. It was a fun little half hour, basically. I think I have like 3 of the other guys' games in my Steam family library, so I will probably be playing as we continue watching Donkey Kong Country cartoon. A very interesting statement for me to be saying, if I may be honest, because that show is a mess. It is a good mess, but it is a mess.
I can't get over how beautiful Donkey Kong's singing voice is in that show.
How beautiful is it?
It's extremely beautiful. He's got an insane voice. It's I don't know if Nicholas will agree with me, but
I don't know what's happening to me.
He sings about showering you in his coconut cream pies.
What? You can't allow that on
That's real.
itch.
sings about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he sings about
His love is like a golden banana.
Yeah, he got
That's
removed
true.
from reality in one episode, and he has to beg a Yeti to let him. In another episode, he's blamed for doing a bunch of things he didn't do, and he's banished to the mountaintops for it. And it's like pranking people, so they just sent him to like live in hell on Mount Everest.
Yeah.
And another one, he's rapping with K. Rool about how he shouldn't throw Diddy off a cliff.
Yeah, the Diddy drop rap. Yeah, it's an episode where Cranky Kong is a hologram, which is like a telegram, according to him.
Seems like there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. I have only seen one actual episode of that show. I watched the Christmas special, which I think is also the series finale.
It's free on YouTube. You gotta go watch that.
It is.
We should watch it together, and we can all feel our brains actively. Buster Kong sing 100 banana bunches on the wall, 100 banana bunches, yada yada yada, and so.
Yeah, where was he in Bonanza? He's not in Bonanza.
What?
What's going on?
There's the incentive.
They didn't put him. He got cut. They cut him from fucking banana. What?
They cut him, yeah.
You spent $70 on this fucking game? What an asshole.
He was in like every trailer, and they just cut him without saying anything. What the hell is going on anymore?
Ugh. Bullshit.
Yeah. We could have finally seen the transformation into Leo Luster, you know?
Who's Leah Luster?
That's his cool alternate identity.
Mm-hmm.
That Bluster Kong, who I think was probably they wanted to include Swanky Kong, but he didn't fit or something. I don't know why Bluster Kong is the only OC in the show. They just made up a Kong, never appeared again.
Yeah.
Scary. He's in like a comic. Yeah, he's in Super Mario Kart. Like, that's it. That's the only existence he's had outside of this old-ass TV show.
He could have been in Bonanza.
John, what's next?
So I will briefly mention that I did go to a gaming convention this past weekend. I went to Classic Game Fest because it's local. I had a decent time, but I could not find the game that I particularly wanted. I was on the prowl for a copy of Digital Devil Saga because I have the second one. I don't have the first one, so I really want to play Digital Devil Saga sometime. And nobody had any copies of it, and I was pissed as fuck. And I was just like, I must have gone around that convention like 8 or 9 times because I wanted to find a copy and I couldn't find it. But I did get some games. I actually have one of them right next to me. Let me make sure that turning this on. Okay, yeah, I have. I got a copy of X for the Game Boy, which I have it on my analog pocket, so it plays. If I remember correctly, I think the Game Boy is just region free, right? I think it is. But it's on the analog pocket, so it works just fine. And that game's crazy. It's by Argonaut, so it's the same people that made Star Fox. And it's pretty much just, hey, what if Star Fox on Super Nintendo was on Game Boy? And
Okay.
it's wild. It is so wild how good that game looks, and it plays pretty well. This is Japanese, so I think there might be an English patch, but if not, it's still pretty playable, even in Japanese. And also, a little fun fact for all you real Nintendo heads, this is the first game that has Totaka's song in it.
What's that?
So, Totaka's song is oh god, what's his first name? Let me make sure that I'm getting the Kazumi Totaka, who is one of Nintendo's big composers. He has done a lot of music for a lot of games. So like Mario Paint, Yoshi's Story, Luigi's Mansion, some Mario Kart stuff, etc., etc. Yeah, the first game that he did that he hit it in was an X for Game Boy. And if you know Animal Crossing, you know KK Slider. His full name is Tota KK because he is based on Totaka. And because Totaka did the music for Animal Crossing as well.
That's cool.
Yeah. So he hides the song in all of his games that he works on, for the most part. I think there's like a few games that people haven't found it yet. But it's just this short little, like, 12-second ditty that you actually have to kind of put work into to find. Like, for example, in Luigi's Mansion, you have to sit on the screen where you see the controls, like when you're doing the tutorial in the training mode. You have to sit there on that screen for 3.5 minutes, and then it plays.
That's
So,
silly.
yeah, it's all that kind of stuff, where you have to, like, sit on certain screens for a long time. And so, yeah, it's just a famous little hint thing. And, yeah, I think there's like 3 or 4 games that people haven't found it in. I think it's like Wii Sports. Yeah, Wii Sports, Mario Odyssey, and Smash for Wii U and Smash Ultimate. They haven't found it yet. But yes, no, I was. I also got a copy of Okage Shadow King, which that was nice.
How's that
I'm
going?
happy about that. Yeah. I don't know yet. I haven't played it. But I want to. But I did have a weird experience where, because, you're at a convention, you're gonna haggle, that's part of it. But also, if someone says no, it's fine. I'm not gonna be pissed. But I was trying to haggle with somebody, and I was just like, hey, the $30 game, would you do 25? And then the dude pulled up price charting on his phone and was like, actually, it goes for 32. So we're already undercharging. I don't know what you're trying to get over on me. And I was just like, all right, man.
Tough business.
Okay, dude. Gotcha. If he had just said nah, I would have been like, okay. But no. Just coming at me. Like, what are you trying to do to me? You're trying to take money out of my you're trying to take food out of my children's mouths.
Well, aren't you?
No.
What's your problem, man? Come on. That guy has to.
No. If I was trying to take food out of the children's mouths, I would have been like, just give it to me. Give me the game. Now. It's mine. But yeah, I didn't buy that much. You know, it was... there wasn't as much stuff there that I wanted. I don't know if it was just like a lean year, or if people are just not selling as many games as before.
Yeah, what's the market like these days?
It's hard to say. I mean, I think the prices have been going down a little bit here and there. But it's still an investment market. People are still being weird about it, and I wish they wouldn't, because I want to buy video games for a normal price.
That guy was selling $2 under market rate and paying the con fees. How is he making money?
By selling a bunch of stuff, and also the market rates are so overblown that you're making money anyway.
Also, I guess if you're at a convention, people are more willing to buy.
Yeah. And it's a smaller convention, too. Like, this is the first time that it's been 3 days. I only went for the 1 day. But, yeah. They have some people there. They had, Tim Kitzrow is always there every year, and every couple of hours they get him on the microphone, and he goes, "Hello, Classic Game Fest, boom shakalaka," and that's it. And it's like, oh yeah, I know that guy from NBA Jam.
What's next, John?
There's a few more bits of news here, and then I think we can wrap up. Let's see here. The Outer Worlds 2, which was one of the big old Microsoft RPGs, you know, obviously, BDS list. Don't buy it anyway. But I think it's interesting to note that they very suddenly reversed their plans to charge $80 for that game. They changed it to $70, which, you know, is the going rate now for, I guess, AAA games. But it's pretty wild that prices are in flux like that still. I guess, you know, people saw the pushback against Mario Kart. Strange that it's something that they can change right now. You know, like, that game is coming out in October. You know, it's only a few months out, and they're saying, actually, it's going to be $70, not $80. Our bad.
They're desperate.
Maybe. It's bizarre. It's very bizarre.
Sounds like the boycott's working.
I mean, could be. I don't know if this is something that you could attribute to that. Like, obviously that's, you know, if that's the case, then good. But I don't know. The market is just so fucking weird, and it's very confusing why they're choosing to do what they're doing, and I don't know. It's just weird.
What's weird about it?
I mean, it's not a bad weird, because, again, like, I don't think that game should be $70 or $80, but it's just the fact that we are so close to this game releasing, and they're like, oh, actually, no, we're changing the price. Like, it's just a bizarre event, I suppose.
I guess this doesn't usually happen this close to release. I mean,
Exactly.
Yeah. But I think... maybe you can't trace it specifically to the boycott, but certainly it's clear that Xbox is in trouble. They need to make some moves.
They're in such a weird spot, and I absolutely don't think that their whole everything is an Xbox thing, and them trying to, you know, it just seems that they're going to basically let other people make Xboxes, and it'll just be like a set of stats, and, you know, it needs to hit this spec, And then once you do that, then it's an Xbox. Like, I don't think that's going to work. People are just going to get confused, and they're not going to want to buy all these different SKUs, because then they're going to be like, well, I bought this one, but there's 5 other ones that are better. So why, like, what's going on? Why is this one more expensive? Is it that much better? Like, it's going to confuse people. Nobody's going to want to figure that out. I think they're on their way out, honestly. Speaking of on their way out, Splitgate 2, everybody. Try not to... If you laugh, you go to hell. Because Splitgate 2 is, quote, unlaunching. Which is insane. That game came out, and then now they're saying, actually, no, it's not. It's in beta again. And, I mean, the bad thing is that some people have lost their jobs. They are saying that they are going to be trying to help them get a new job and, you know, giving them severance and all that. And I mean, if I'm being honest with the way that the leader of that company acts, like not just his stupid ass hat, but just all the different things that he's been saying over the years, I hope these people get new jobs quickly, because I think they'll probably be happier somewhere else. They also said that they're shutting down the online for Splitgate 1. So they are saying that they will relaunch the game early next year. It just seems like a mess. What's going on?
I'll laugh at them. Ha 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 ha! You fools.
It's a total mess. It's a total mess, and they absolutely should be laughed at a bit. Like, again, like, I think that, you know, I feel for the folks who lost their jobs, but also, you're probably going to be in a better spot once you find something new. So, you know, blessing in disguise, perhaps. Lily and Nicholas, do either of you have anything to say about Splitgate 2 and their debacle, their idiocy?
Can you fucking imagine losing your job because someone wore a hat? Like, I think I would just try killing that guy at that point. Like, really, dude? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's just that. Like, it's definitely, that's a big part of it, don't get me wrong. But it was also the fact that they were like, we're revitalizing FPS games, and the way that we're doing that is by launching a Battle Royale mode. It's like...
I think a lot of that is symptomatic and not what the actual simplest answer to the problem is, which is probably less public. Like, consistently when you see things like systematically falling apart like this, it can be attributed to a lot of mismanagement behind the scenes, factors that we are not immediately made privy to as, like, exterior, you know, to this entire situation. And I think it's easy to say something like, oh, this is because of the hat. But I think the hat more likely happened because of dumb upper-level management style, public, like, producer style to the way things worked out. And not to repeat what I've already said before, but just, it's very much one of those things where it's Splitgate. It was never like a cultural behemoth punching above its weight class. It was a game that got more attention than I think it ever expected to get, because it came out at a time where people were starving for anything that felt like Halo, and Splitgate was there, like, I don't know, the equivalent of, like, off-brand Lego blocks. It was something to play with. And now that there is Halo Infinite, now that there are a lot of games doing what it claims to do, it had its lunch eaten, and the management wasn't paying attention enough to do anything about it because they were all too busy shaking each other's hands and high-fiving.
Yeah.
And this is where they're at now. And normal people are paying the cost for it while they continue to get money from their, you know, Nepo baby, you know, parents.
Yeah, they tried to make this big leap by, instead of supporting their already successful Splitgate 1, they went, no, we're going to make a sequel now where it's going to be even bigger and better. And then it was not bigger and better. It was just more of that, but also a bunch of lame shit. So they fucked it. They screwed up, and that's about it. They just screwed it up.
Simple as.
Speaking of screwing up big time, we have one last bit of news, and this is another biggie. The VShojo falling out. So, VTubers. You love them, you hate them. Sometimes they're on this podcast. VTubers are a big ol' piece of the streaming pie. And one of the major players in VTubing was VShojo, which was a talent agency that was formed in the US, and they had a Japanese branch, etc., etc. I don't really know too much about their goings-on because I didn't really watch any of their stuff. I didn't really care for any of that. I honestly kind of thought that their whole vibe was a little annoying, personally. But I will say that all of a sudden, the truth was revealed about what was going on in the background there. One of their biggest streamers, Iron Mouse, who is a VTuber because she is, compromised, and she, wanted to interact with people more and build a community and all that, which is a noble goal for sure. She also has in the past raised a ton of money for the Immune Deficiency Foundation, like $500,000 I think in the past, or like $1 million, like just like tons and tons and tons of money. Well, she revealed that she's leaving VShojo because since she's been working there, they have not been paying her properly, and they also revealed that they just did not send the Immune Deficiency Foundation the money that she raised. They just sat on that money and used it themselves. So she quit because of how they treated her, and then pretty much all the rest of her coworkers just came out and were like, actually, yeah, no, me too. They haven't been paying us, and they have been just treating us poorly. Like, K-Son said, my payment stopped last September. I was asking what's going on for a long time, multiple times. They just kept saying it will be paid. So they all quit all at once. K-Son did like a complete beast mode move where she called up the Japanese CEO on stream and just chewed him out and quit right there. And dude was just like, okay, yeah, okay. Like, couldn't even do anything about it, which is really good. That was beast mode. I'm just gonna completely just beast mode. More things continue to happen. The CEO just full on posted on Twitter and admitted, yeah, we spent all that money that was raised for charity because we thought that we were going to be able to make that money and then pay it later, and then we didn't.
They gambled with it and lost?
Pretty much, yeah.
Man, this whole company seems fucked.
Yep. So, and yeah, pretty much everyone involved in the higher-ups has been, like, revealed to be a dumbass shithead in some aspect. But then the good news is that Iron Mouse did recently open up a new campaign to raise money for the Immune Deficiency Foundation. And, previously they had raised $500,000, and this one raised $1 million. So she doubled it, basically. So, that's some good news there. So everyone from VShojo is just by themselves now. The YouTuber Mo Tendu founded VShojo, as Mothra Aelita is saying in the chat. I was seeing some talk that he was also very unprofessional. I don't really know too much in the specifics about that, but I was seeing some people saying that, like, yeah, that he was also a shithead in some way. But yeah, he quit 2 months ago. A bunch of other VShojo talent had quit a few months ago as well, but they didn't really say anything in specific, like that they weren't getting paid or whatever. They just said, "Yeah, I'm quitting." But it seems like a total mess. Who knows about what is going to end up happening, like with, if this is going to lead to courtroom procedures, because it's just a total mess. Like, yeah, it seems like there's a lot of money owed to these people. But who knows? Like, they probably don't have the money. Like, even if they get taken to court, it sounds like they have no money. So even if they win, it's not like they're going to be able to get any money from them. Just a disaster. So yeah, so VShojo is no more, and all those women are independent now. So,
hey, you know what the great part of VShojo not having any money is? You can just use your same avatar. What are they going to do, sue you?
So that is the one thing, is that the entire time VShojo was like they didn't own the avatar ever. It was always like, yeah, you own your avatar and your likeness and all that.
Oh,
so even if they had just quit, they keep their avatar anyway. So, but still, I mean, even then, they get to keep it no matter what.
Have formerly corporate indie VTubers done pretty well for themselves?
Oh, totally. I will say, like, basically there are a couple of outliers, but for the most part, I would say, like, all the indie VTubers that are successful are the ones that used to be corporate and then quit.
I mean, a lot of the time, the service that, like, organizations like them provide is ultimately marketing and attention. Like,
exactly.
It is so incredibly easy. Like, anyone can just start a Twitch stream using a virtual avatar. Hi, hello, by the way. And a lot of what the services of these companies offer is marketing, training, things like that enable people who maybe want to have a voice but don't know the proper avenues to accomplish it. That's what they're truly offering. And in specific cases like VShojo, they are doing, like, the proverbial gambling and losing, where they are trying to basically expand endlessly when it's kind of a fundamental problem of having, like, a media enterprise, kind of like in that way, because people ultimately only have so much time. You can't keep up with the professional lives of, like, 9-10 different performers all doing, like, 2.5 hour long streams. There's just not that much time in a day. And so at the end of the day, like, a lot of these people going independent, you will see, like, the kinds of things where people will just kind of separate and keep big chunks of the pie in the first place.
Yeah. A lot of that is why I can't really get into VTubers. Like, part of it is the, like, weird parasocial aspect to it, where it's like, I'm not saying I'm immune to cute anime woman playing video games in theory, like, I'm not gonna watch and then be like, I think she's gonna date me, like, I'm not like that. But I'm not immune to that. It's more just like the ways that a lot of the English speaking ones play into that. It's like, that's kind of part of the reason why I didn't really like VShojo, is like a lot of their designs were just like really overly horny, and it felt like they were just like, and again, I'm not trying to be a prude, but it's just like, it felt fake. It felt very fake, where it's just kind of like, you're like, you don't have your heart in this, like, you're not acting like this because you want to act like this. You're acting like this because it makes you money. And I get it, but
I think there can be people who enjoy that kind of element, but at the same time, going against it is like going up to the virtual Hooters and being like, man, I don't know if these girls actually like me at all.
No, exactly, but that's why I don't go to Hooters, Like, it's like, I don't need that kind of interaction in my life. So, like, I want to watch somebody I mean, I don't even watch most streamers, you know? Like, I watch, like, clips of Northern Lion. I don't watch his streams. I just watch, like, clips of him and, like, Germa and stuff. Because I think their bits are funny, but, like, I'm not going to sit there and watch them play stuff for hours and hours just because that's just not really what I'm interested in interacting with, but, you know.
I mean, I just don't need that level of background noise.
No, yeah, me too.
I know that this is coming from people who are literally currently on a podcast right now, but at the same time, I think that a big element of online entertainment does kind of need to be, like, stimulating in a particular way that can keep attention, and if shorter runtimes are better for that, then I think that's fine, but I don't know. I feel like streaming, as far as it goes in terms of someone playing a video game, I don't want to say that I've adopted, like, the mom and dad perspective of it, but there is still an aspect of my mind where it's like, why am I watching someone play a game badly? I could play a game badly. I could play several games badly right now.
Yeah.
The options are limitless.
Well, you're not watching them for the game. You're watching them for the potential that they'll read your chat message.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Once
why
again,
we're there.
Virtual Hooters.
Or, like, performance of a homosexual desire between the performers.
Virtual Hooters?
In my case, everyone in the audience should know that it is fully legitimate.
That's actually... this is the element of VTubers that tends to vex me a bit, is, like... The job selects for people who are, like, people who are on their computer all day, maybe not, like, the best socialized people, and then the demands of the job are, like, get extremely personal about your life to build a connection to the audience. And it's all just very TMI to me.
Frankly, that's just how I interact with people normally.
Anyway, go listen to our interview with Shinri from Hololive that we have on the website, and we've got more stuff in that vein coming soon. I don't know. I don't get... Yeah, it's very funny because, like, I like Korone a little bit, but that's because I like her taste in games. And she says funny stuff sometimes.
My like, interest and enjoyment of her streams does not come from, I don't know, the false pre-assertion that, you know, she's gonna blow me a virtual kiss.
Yeah.
That's a dog playing video games, man.
That's a dog playing video games, and I respect her opinions, and that's kind of it. And I also like the TCG for some reason.
The spin-off of Airbud is going crazy.
It's going crazy. I mean, they're coming back. They're making a new Airbud. Did you see that? It's back. It's time.
You excited for that
they're
one?
Back. No.
Okay, so I have to...
Space Buddies.
Nicholas, do you have any opinions on VTubers or this whole VShojo?
I do not have any opinions on VTubers at all.
Mm-hmm.
I do not watch it. The only one I watch only counts as a technicality because sometimes I will watch Bunlith stream and she uses one.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I don't consider that a VTuber, since, like, also it's just watching someone do programming in Unreal Engine, which is like, I just watch it because I do that too. I think I might set up something like that just so I have something more interesting than this ENG, but I also might just make a little looping environment. But I don't really have investment in watching any of them, but I can respect the technology that goes behind them existing, I will say. I like that a lot.
Yeah. I respect the tech. I respect a good amount of the people. Like, I mean, I respect, like, even, like, you know, I was just saying, like, I don't really care for, like, the VShojo type streamer. Like, I still respect it for the most part. You know, like, I like how I would respect sex work, you know? Like, it's not for me, but I respect it, you know? It's
a
part
living.
of life. Yeah, it's a living.
I did have multiple people, upon my inclusion on this podcast, debating over whether or not I technically count as a VTuber, and that was harrowing to me.
I mean, you just have like an image, right?
It's a virtual avatar. Does it not count?
No, it has to be motion synced in some capacity.
Wouldn't every
Yeah, and then if it is like if it's one of those ones where like it just kind of bobs up and down, those are PNG tubers.
Okay, so if I wiggle slightly, okay, like if I do this while I'm talking, now I'm a VTuber.
Exactly.
You're a PNG tuber now. Yeah, you are. There you go. All right. Well, I think that about. There you go. Doing a little jig.
Alright, guys, see you later.
No, we gotta wrap up. No, come back. Come on, come back, come back, come back.
Everyone's leaving you.
Oh my god. I gotta do this shit all by myself. Come on, come here, come here, come here, come here. I'll give you a treat. I'll give you a Scooby snack. Here. Okay, here.
Is it seed?
Okay. It can be.
Oh, seed.
There we go. But thank you all for sticking around. Thank you all for being here. If you want to send in a question for next time, you can go to podcast@gamesline.net, and then we'll get those and we'll read them. And you know, if it's a question we can answer, we'll answer it on the show.
We didn't have any questions this time.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry, everybody. We have a question. I can't believe it. We do, actually. It's from Rose, because Rose was not on this episode, but she sent in a question. So here, we'll do this real quick.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I asked this one, so I'm going for it. What game would you remove from the timeline to improve morale and trends? What game do you think is such a negative knock-on effect that regardless of the quality of the game, if it was removed from the world, it would be a better place? I will always say GTA or Destiny, because GTA inspired endless culture wars and cultivated the "take that mom" type of reactivity that we still have to deal with, while Destiny ruined everything with its truly horrendous lore-dropping technique and cursor-based menus on consoles that we still haven't recovered from. Okay.
Fortnite.
Fortnite.
I had the button ready. I had a button that says Fortnite ready, so I could press it.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, well, if you're getting rid of Fortnite, then I'm gonna go to the one before it and just say Smash Bros.
You're just starting shit with me, aren't you?
I think, like, Smash Bros. Is like a decade-older version of the exact kind of disease that led to... I don't think it's to blame. I think what really is to blame is, like, the MCU, and that led into Fortnite. But Smash Bros. Has a hype cycle that bothers me way, way more. Covers the same kind of issue. I should really get rid of Fortnite if I have to get rid of one of them, but someone already answered Fortnite. So
With your power, we can come together and we can get rid of Fortnite.
we can eradicate crossovers from existence.
There's a genuineness to Smash Brothers that I think a lot of other things like the MCU and Fortnite do not have.
I mean, I feel like the... Go ahead.
I cannot understand that viewpoint when Smash Brothers literally only one time ever made the characters like meaningfully interact with each other, and outside of that it's like the Kid Icarus characters talking in one stage because that's the series that the creator of Smash also like. I don't see the genuineness in Smash Brothers. It feels like only like it's not the worst about it. Like, Fortnite is definitely the most extreme of banging the PNGs of characters I have together. Like, I'm making my toys kiss. But I don't see anything like super great in Smash Bros. I think there are crossovers that can have like an interest in what they're doing. I don't see it there. I do not. I've played hundreds of hours of Smash Ultimate.
It's I think it's more about the presentation of the characters as like check this there's a love of the base character in the base series that you can feel in a lot of characters in Smash Brothers. Like, there's obviously some characters that aren't that, you know, like whatever fucking Pokemon and Fire Emblem character that they have to put in because Nintendo told them to, but like you watch Sakurai geek out about Terry Bogard, you know, like it's that's so different to me. You know, like that feels like genuine love compared to Fortnite being like, Darth Vader's here.
I mean, I feel also at this stage of capitalism, Fortnite is just like the fucking Rocco's basilisk. Like, it's inevitable that they are going to try to make like a media empire based out of existing properties, because if we're being as hyper cynical as we need to be for this, it is like the perfect collision between a functional video game and the kind of commercialism inherent to things like MCU style production. So
Yeah.
if you de-invented Fortnite, someone's just going to reinvent it as a different named thing.
Yeah.
Unless I don't know. You de-invent the concept of the arcade and games as a service.
But then someone would just like make a TV show that's that, you know?
Yeah.
I guess the interesting thing about the commercial crossovers of Fortnite is if you go into like VR chat or Second Life, you will also find Goku fighting Iron Man or whatever. People just love that stuff. They'll do it for free.
Back in our day, we called it Mugen, and it was awesome.
And it was awesome.
We used to bet money on strength.
The video
We
game.
used to bet money on whether Homer Simpson or Thanos would win in a fight, and it was usually Homer Simpson.
It was usually Homer Simpson.
2 video games I would erase. 3 video games I would erase. Number 1, Xevious. The scrolling shooter. It just becomes about memorizing the level. It's not about the purity of the mechanics like the single screen shooter. In that similar theme, Super Mario Brothers. Now it's also about memorizing the levels. You gotta hold right and press A at the right time. It's not about moving around on one screen, dodging enemies that are coming at you from all angles. They're always coming from the damn right, or sometimes the top. Number 3, Mass Effect. I look at Expedition 33. We're still caught in the Mass Effect paradigm of we need this cinematic, mocapped actors making the expressions on their faces. What happens to the joy of a simple static character portrait?
My answer is basically Fortnite, but worse, Roblox. I think Roblox is one of the most evil things that exists today.
I agree.
The children need a new Neopets.
Yeah.
They need a Gaia Online who is going to build it for them.
Is that not what Roblox is?
It's an infinite amount of people building a new Neopets, and 99% of those people are trying to get something out of those children in one way or another that they should not
Horrific child exploitation
be.
factory.
Yeah. I mean, you know, Neopets wasn't created for pure niceties, but it wasn't what Roblox is. It wasn't what Fortnite is. So,
I can't believe that, like, people I talk to that are adults play Roblox. I have repeatedly, like, been like, oh, well, one of my friends is streaming a game. I wonder what they're playing. And I join in and they're playing, like, just this fucking Roblox obby that looks like absolute shit with default, like, Roblox texture. And it's like, why aren't you playing anything that has any amount of value? You could be, like, go on Steam, pick literally any random game in your life. You will get more value than this. What is your problem?
yeah, we just spend a lot of time talking shit about it, but, like, I will at the very least say that, like, you know, morally, Fortnite is evil, and I'm not gonna, like, argue against that. But it's also, like, a really well-made game, and some of the crossover stuff is kind of goofy in a fun way. So, like, I'm not gonna be like, if you're a piece of shit and you should go to hell if you play Fortnite. It's like, I understand why people like it, and I'm not gonna, like, full-on judge you or whatever. Like, I mean, I don't play it, but, like, I'll watch my friends play it here and there. But, like, Roblox stuff, that shit is just, that's dark-sided. That entire thing is just, no, there's nothing good going on there, like, at all.
Yeah.
All right. So there we go. But yeah, if you do want to send in a question just like that, you can go to a podcast at gamesline.net, and you'll sound like that. All right, and if you want to find our stuff, we are on the website gamesline.net. That's the website. Type that into your web browser. You can follow us there. We're going to be there all the time. We have our Blue Sky account. Blue Sky is gamesline.net as well. Follow us on there. Go get a Blue Sky account if you don't have one. It's nice. Sometimes people are a little crazy on there. Sometimes they find you on the For You page and they try to argue with you. Just ignore them.
Turn off your replies from people who don't follow you.
Or do that. Yeah, you could do that too. You know. Over at Tumblr, gamesline.tumblr.com if you're on Tumblr. You can do that. Our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@thegamesline. That's where all of our VODs are. And, sometimes we upload other stuff on there as well. And if you're watching right now, you're on twitch.tv/GameslineTV. If you're not watching right now, hey, every Sunday at 5 p.m. CST, that's when we do this. And we have our Patreon, patreon.com/GamesLine. $3 a month gets you early access to Unlimited Railworks, our anime podcast, and it supports the show. It supports this. It supports all of our reviews because we use the money to buy games. We use the money to host the website and host the podcast and just everything else. So please, if you enjoy what we're doing, any amount of money to the Patreon is, it's appreciated. We have a PayPal as well. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I think that's something that we could probably set up for like one-time donations if you so choose, and we'll try to figure out something for that. I'll try to figure that out. That's probably something we should figure out. And we have our Discord server, the GameZone.zone. Also, you could also type that into your web browser and it'll bring you straight there. And you can give us ideas when you're in there. Talk to people about what games you're playing, what shows you're watching, because we have rooms for literally everything. Not literally.
You can tell John that you want it to be a Patreon incentive, that you force all of us in a room and make us watch the entire Donkey Kong show.
There's an amount of money that we could hit where that could happen. I don't know what it is, but at some point...
It's inevitable.
It can happen. It's a lot, but
$1.
If it's not $1, because if it was $1, we already make more than $1. So
$100.
I mean, we do need to get back to $100. But getting back to $100 would be great. $100 a month, that would be lovely. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And thank you to Melt Channel/Magic Circuit for our theme song Crush off of the album Magic is Real. If you want to listen to their stuff, it's meltchannel.bandcamp.com or magic-circuit.bandcamp.com. And I will always recommend first Friday of the month is when you should be buying music off of Bandcamp, because that is Bandcamp Friday. The artists get the full amount of money. So if you want to buy our theme song or any other music from Melt Channel/Magic Circuit, do it on the first. Nicholas, where can people find you?
People can find me on Blue Sky. And the location they can find me at is at suicydecactus.bsky.social.
Thank you. Crystal, where can people find you?
Arcane Crystal on Blue Sky. Go listen to Eidolon Playtest, the newest campaign that I am GMing, Eidolon Islands. Will be releasing for everybody on Monday. It's about a crew of shipwrecked pirates who partied their days away on a deserted island where the ultimate treasure slumbers.
Ooh. Good luck with that. That's it's a big launch for a new campaign. It's exciting. Good luck. Lily, where can people find you?
You can find me at galilisdatra.bsky.com. And anytime that there's a mechanical keyboard sound in a normally clean audio recording.
Lovely, thank you. You can find me at john.gamesline.net on Blue Sky. I'm on there. I'm using the Gamesline account for my own evil purposes. And that purpose is to have a nice URL on Blue Sky. But that will do it. Thank you so much, everybody. We will be back next week with another episode of the Gamesline podcast. Have a good one.
Remember, we're all VTubers now.
Not me. Look at me. I'm normal. I'm flesh. Look.
For now.
We're gonna get
Uh-oh.
you.
I'm scared. Anyway, bye.
Bye.